Education Conference for Humanity, Tech 2018, a unique international conference on education technology organized by UNESCO MGIP in collaboration with the Government of Andhra Pradesh at Visakhapatnam. I am Renuka Rautela from UNESCO MGIP, and on behalf of the MGIP in the Andhra Pradesh conference team, I welcome you all to the opening ceremony of Tech 2018. We at UNESCO MGIP are on a journey towards a paradigm shift. A shift which in its every stride encourages transformative pedagogies over transmissive pedagogies. A shift that strongly advocates for knowledge creation over knowledge transmission. A shift that celebrates games and digital tools for learning over conventional and stagnant learning tools in our classrooms. And ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to have you join us on this journey of ours. Thank you. The journey certainly will not be easy. It will require persistent support and cooperation from all our partners, one of them our teachers. And it gives me immense pleasure to share with you UNESCO MGIP's initiative for empowering teachers on this journey. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a huge round of applause for our enthusiastic teachers from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and India. Also, a huge shout out to our sponsors, without whose support this massive event would not have been possible. We would particularly like to thank our innovative partner, Samsung India, education technology partner, Microsoft, creative and digital education partner, Adobe, technology partner, HP, VR partners, Viative and Eon Reality, incubation partner, Govan Academy, and 3DS for providing scholarships to 7 Indian educators for Tech 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for our sponsors. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our honorable guest for the day will shortly join us, and then we shall commence with the opening ceremony. In the meantime, I would like to give you a sneak peek of UNESCO MGIP's vision for education. UNESCO Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education for Peace and Sustainable Development is UNESCO's Category 1 research institute that focuses on Sustainable Development Goal 4.7. The goal is directed towards education for building peaceful and sustainable societies across the world. In line with its vision of transforming education for humanity, the Institute employs the whole-brain approach to learning. And the program at the institutes are designed to mainstream socio-emotional learning, innovate digital pedagogies, and to put youth as global citizens at the center of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. In its vision to build peaceful and sustainable societies, UNESCO MGIP believes that one cannot grow in isolation with their ecosystem. And acknowledging this need, MGIP has collaborated with Grow Trees, as part of which it has organized and committed to contribute to planting 700 trees in India. Moving ahead, ladies and gentlemen, on an exciting note, let me tell you what is in store for you at Tech 2018. First of all, if you believe in reducing your carbon footprint and don't want to miss on any exciting updates from the conference, then we have the Tech 2018 Guidebook app for you. The app not only keeps you updated with latest schedule, conference documents, and speaker lists, but also provides you with platform to engage with other participants and speakers. You can also go live using plethora of features on the app. To download the app, visit the Google Play Store on your Android or App Store on your iOS device and find Tech 2018 Guidebook app. You can also access Tech 2018 Open Wi-Fi network to download the app. Thank you. Second of all, as part of the conference, we are coming up with tangible outcomes in the form of WISAC Declaration. The declaration seeks to call for standards and guidelines in digital education resources. And let me tell you, the process has been quite expansive, from in-house articulation to online consultation, to accommodating your suggestions, and then to the high-level policy forum deliberation yesterday. And ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor, and I'm delighted to inform you that the final declaration is now ready for its adoption, for which we need your support. To show your support for the adoption, you can visit the WISAC declaration in the mgip.unesco.org website. Please also note that the declaration is open for acceptance till 5 p.m. on 16 November 2018. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hold on to your seats because I promise that the next set of announcements are going to be quite exhilarating. First of all, we have for you 7 outstanding keynote speakers, 50 spectacular catalytic speakers, and 150 fantabulous breakout session speakers in Tech 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, with a big round of applause, let's welcome all our speakers. Keep the hall roaring, ladies and gentlemen, because you are a fantabulous audience, and I'm really excited to share with you that this time in Tech 2018, we have had a phenomenal response from all of you. I'm delighted to inform that in Tech 2018, we have a gathering of 36 countries and over 2,000 delegates. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for all of you. And thank you for such an overwhelming response. Next, we have an incredibly revolutionary tweet cafe for you, where you can tweet the hashtag to win goodies and merchandise. All you have to do is to step into the tweet cafe, tweet hashtag Tech 2018, followed by the door number on the goodie box, and let the magic unfold. Kindly note that the cafe will be open only during lunch and networking breaks, and the participation is on first-come, first basis. Please also note that each delegate can only tweet once during the entire conference. At this moment, I would also like to mention the amazing support from our partners for the cafe, Araku Cafe for providing us with rich and fragrant coffee, and Etikopaka Toys for providing us with their world-class exported wooden handmade toys. Designed for today's upbeat generation at number 4, ladies and gentlemen, is the Mash Machine. If composing music excites you, then this is the perfect place for you. Mix and match your music blocks to create your personalized music, share it with your friends on social media, and don't forget to tag us at hashtag Tech 2018. Our amazing social media team would love to capture these moments, so please support them by posing for the cameras. Tech 2018 is all about doing things differently. So this time, we ain't passing the mics to you, ladies and gentlemen. Polish your fielding skill, because this year will be all about catching them. Presenting the Catchbox microphone device at Tech 2018. And if you want to become all touristy and explore the beach city, then we have the perfect thing in store for you, the WISAC City Tour. Sign in to make most of your time at the City of Destiny. Also join us for a mesmerizing cultural evening by a talented artist from the Cultural Department of Andhra Pradesh, same place today. Next, we have some exciting giveaways for all those who take pride in selfies. Head to the MGIP stall to know more about the details. And saving the best for the last, ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted to announce that with the generous support of our technology partner and sponsor HP, we are giving away an HP EliteBook 820. Yes, you heard it right. The lucky winner with the maximum tweets at the conference will walk away with this top-of-the-line laptop. So if you want to participate, then tweet as many times as possible during the next 3 days, use the hashtag Tech2018, tag us, and wait for us to announce the winners on the end of the closing ceremony. Thank you. Before we also move ahead, please note the following security announcements. All emergency exits are clearly marked on my right. In case of any emergency, our staff will solely guide you out to a proper evacuation channel. Kindly maintain your calm. I'll also take this moment to request all present to keep their phones on silent or switched off during the rest of the ceremony. Tech 2017 was a huge success, and we received impressive participation from all over the world. Watch the Tech 2017 highlights to find out what was exciting last year, and watch the Tech 2018 video to know what's in more store for you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a slight change in the itinerary for the day. And now I welcome our first keynote speaker for Tech 2018, Jessica Lindell. Jessica has spent over 15 years overseeing companies and teams that design, develop, market, and distribute high-impact learning offerings to the global education market. In her work at Unity Technologies, Common Sense Media, Glass Lab Scientific Learning, and Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, she has worked to improve learning outcomes and earning potential for all learners worldwide by blending effectiveness with groundbreaking engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, I invite Global Head of Education, Unity Technologies, Ms. Jessica Lindell, as she talks on enabling the next generation of creators through gaming.
All right, thank you so much, everybody. I think the first thing you'll notice is I am not the Prime Minister in the agenda. I'm really, really honored and grateful to be here today, and I just want to give a round of applause for that opening ceremony. The first time I've heard the word fantabulous used, so thank you. Well, I am thrilled to be here with such like-minded people. I think in a society, a global society that we live in, with challenges like global warming, shifting approaches to how governments are run, major complex information challenges, privacy, fake news. I think the one thing that really unifies all of us, specifically in this room, is the continuous belief that education is the key pathway to opportunity. That despite the culture or school, or unfortunately even sometimes family that you're born into, education can still give you a huge, huge, unprecedented opportunity. And I'm thrilled to spend the next 20 minutes talking to you today about how we can collaborate to really enable the next generation of learners to create a better world for all of us. What I'm going to talk through is my hypothesis that it is time for a new pedagogical approach, that the key skill and set of skills to succeed in the 21st century is the skills of becoming an empathetic creator. And that approach demands a new pedagogy. And so I'll be walking you through what that new pedagogical approach of an empathetic creator could become. And I look forward to many conversations with all of you over the next few days on how we can form and collaborate this approach. But first, let me talk about the education experience that I grew up in, and I know many of you grew up in. The traditional rote learning kind of classroom approach to education. One of my favorite memories of this is Sister Teresa, who was my 7th grade science teacher. I could barely understand what she was saying to me. It was hard to even hear with how quiet her voice is, and to really try and learn the science that she was communicating. And at that point in time, I'm very old, there was no internet, there was no way for me to find alternative approaches. My entire future in science was essentially up to Sister Teresa. And I white-knuckled my way through that classroom experience, like many of you have. I tried to not wiggle. I tried to make sure that I could maintain my focus. And suffice it to say that I did not have a career in anything close to science as a result of that. And I compare that experience to this experience that my children have today. So for those of you who also have children, you can relate to this story. When my kids come home and ask me these questions about how the world was created, and specifically things related to science, I unfortunately continue to be stumped. And all they have to say is, "Okay, Google," and then ask their question to Google. And Google gives them an incredibly accurate, descriptive answer. And now they've actually gotten to the point where they no longer ask me much of anything. They just decide to ask Google these questions because they've been convinced that Google knows better than their mom, which is true half of the time. In addition to that, they've also learned how to teach Google. And my two boys actually fight over who can teach Google more about their approach to learning so that Google, with the artificial intelligence, can actually begin to learn them better than each other. So a dramatically different experience than the world we grew up in. And I know we are all aware of this evolution, but in order to align us, I thought we should all center around what this evolution has looked like over the past 400 to 500 years. So of course, we all started with the Industrial Revolutions, where the type of learning approach that I grew up in was totally accurate. Give me the information, help me memorize it, tell me exactly what to do in the response to the problem, and I will succeed for you. So I began my career in the mid-90s. I grew up in the middle of America and decided I wanted to be part of innovation and moved to Silicon Valley right after I graduated from undergrad in the mid-90s. And everything I learned in school and my whole approach to learning, more specifically how I learned, never ever happened again. The rest of my career, like many of yours, has been focused on collaborative learning, trying to better understand the problems that we're solving, and thinking of very, very divergent ways to solving that problem. And as we move into Industrial Revolution 4.0, which we all know is artificial intelligence, machine learning, augmented reality, virtual reality, all of those jobs, all of those skills are focused on deeply understanding problems and creating, with your peers, with your collaborators, most likely globally, unique solutions to those problems. And so with that, I think the urgency we all feel around how we better prepare our youth for the 21st century comes home. Just a few data points that may be a little bit hard for all of you to see in the background is what type of skills are being required as we look 10 to 20 years down from an employment perspective. So no surprise here, you're obviously seeing a significant demand and a significant increase in technology skills. Of course, we all know that. That's the huge evolution of all the programming and coding and tech skills that we're seeing. But what is critically important is the huge importance of social emotional learning skills. That when you look at that far right diagram, what we're seeing is the collaboration, the listening skills, the strengths in working with others, which frankly is, I think, one of our biggest challenges as a society and something that we've got to support our youth in. The third key area that you'll see is what some of these have termed higher order skills. So creativity being the biggest growth at the bottom there with a 40% increase in the demand for the ability to create. So for those of you who have spent your career like I have and really trying to define what is creativity, you'll find that there's very little consensus in the research and the academic approach, which makes quite a bit of sense because it hasn't been something that our academic institutions have greatly valued until recently. There are a few assessments out there that appear to be valid and reliable for creativity. Pulling from those assessments and pulling from some of the few but excellent documentation out there on creativity, I just wanted to highlight for you what these competencies are. So my favorite one to start with is deeply understanding the problem. Again, dramatically different from how I was taught, which was, here's the problem, go solve it 10 different times in 10 different approaches with missing information. Instead, the focus is on how do we truly and deeply understand the problem that we're facing? How many divergent ideas, how many different ideas do you have to approaching that problem? Not, let me give you the answer and see your fluency in repeating the answer to that problem. A lot of my favorites include resilience, tenacity, ability to fail forward, critical thinking, of course, and then the hypothesize, test, iterate and learn, retry again. So when I'm thinking about that empathetic creator, these are the competencies that we think of bringing to the forefront. So I just want to spend a couple of minutes describing the last 20 years of my career and some of the biggest mistakes I've made, so you don't have to make them. Or if you've also made them, you can commemorate with me after this. So when I started off my career in the cert that we're all looking for, which is how do we find incredible learning opportunities, pedagogical approaches, curriculum, and how do we scale that to every learner in the world, independent of the resources that we have? The approach I took was looking at impact and trying to figure out how to scale that impact. So one of the first mistakes that I made, this was in the late 90s and the early 2000s, was basically taking the best textbooks, the best curricular approaches out there, and turning them into digital experiences. And of course, what I realized in that was that there was no innovation. Perhaps it may have been saving printing costs, but it wasn't actually getting the exponential growth that we needed in student outcomes. I then moved into really trying to hone in on where am I seeing the exponential growth, and had the incredible opportunity to work with some of the world's leading neuroscientists in being able to bring neuroscience research to the masses, seeing incredible outcomes of using a product for 8 to 12 weeks, seeing almost 2 years in growth as a result of that. And what I learned in that experience is although the outcomes were very, very high, the demand in the teacher time to take on this new approach and the teacher mindset was just frankly too high for their investment. And what that means for me is that the teachers weren't doing anything wrong. What it meant was that I did not have the right solution for teachers to be able to use something effectively. And so I decided to change my mindset and instead went from not just impact to scale, but scale to impact. So really, how can I look at where hundreds of millions, billions of people are experiencing something, and how can we infuse impact into those experiences? And that is about 10 years ago what brought me to digital gaming. As we know, more than half the world plays games. The access to those digital experiences is incredibly easy, very low friction, and great teachers are already incorporating not just digital games, but gaming in general into their lives. So my question for you as we talk over the next 10 minutes is, what impact are you going to scale? And I'm going to give you some tips along the way that I've learned, in addition to some more of my failures and mistakes, that can really help you think about what is the impact that you're going to scale that will change the world.
Folks, let's be quiet. Let's give our speaker your attention. She's giving an amazing speech. Please stop talking, stop socializing, and listen. Sorry,
thank you. Thank you. So with that question, continuing into the rest of our conversation, this is the pedagogical approach that I'm going to cover over the next 10 minutes. And it starts, as I mentioned, in a very, very scalable way, which is the learner as a player, not just a video game player, but the learner as a player and leading with curiosity about how to solve problems. Moving on to that player becoming a modder. How are they tinkering? How are they hypothesizing? How are they testing to extend their learning? Ultimately moving into a creator, being able to create from scratch the exact thing in their mind and bringing it to the world. And then ultimately to the enabler. How do they scale that creativity, again, to change the world for the masses? So starting off with that player, I had the opportunity to run a company called Glass Lab, which stood for Games, Learning, and Assessments. I was honored to have been gifted amazing IP. Electronic Arts gave us SimCity, Plants vs. Zombies. Zynga gave us Words with Friends. And our job was to prove that playing video games was more effective than textbooks from an instructional perspective. Our second job was to actually prove that the data from that video game play could create a more reliable assessment than the normative standardized approach. We also had with us a research organization that was set up to test from an independent perspective if what we claimed was actually true. It was not a very relaxing few years of my life because every release was demanding that I was being set up to prove those two questions. And what we were able to do with these games, and games that we also created from scratch, was ultimately to prove, according to Stanford Research Institute, which I'm sure many of you know, one of the leading premier research universities, that yes, in fact, playing the game SimCity and many other games, learning games that were created, was a more effective way to teach next generation science standards, as well as 21st century skills, than using a traditional textbook. In addition to that, we were also able to prove that playing that game was a much stronger formative assessment than the standardized tests were from a normative perspective. Nothing new, I'm sure, to all of you. I'm preaching to the choir, but actually to get that validation from an independent research body, third party, is incredibly powerful to all of the work that we'll be doing as we move forward together. One of the key mistakes I made in starting off this work is that I decided to prioritize the learning designer ahead of the game designer in the creation of these products. And all of you know, learning designers are incredibly brilliant, PhDs, very strong theoretical approaches. And I would pair them actively with game designers. I hired both. Game designers, to be accurate, had different approaches from an education perspective, not exactly a traditional education. And the collaboration, teamwork was a disaster. They couldn't even speak to each other. They weren't speaking the same language. And I was forced to essentially decide, I'll just prioritize a learning designer. And we failed. We had numerous releases that were not engaging at all for the students. We didn't even get to the point where we could actually measure the outcomes. And what I really learned was that if you pair and teach explicitly how game designers and learning designers can collaborate together, that the experiences and outcomes that we get are much higher. And so I think the key learning as we all move forward is how do we bring together the game design with the learning design? And sometimes you get lucky enough to find a unicorn or two who has the same skills within the same person. So I just wanted to highlight a few other approaches around amazing players. Those of you who don't know Institute of Play, Quest to Learn. Quest to Learn is a school that is a public school in New York City, totally focused on playing and gaming. I know there's quite a few here in India that I've met as well. Another learning game that I think did a phenomenal job of this is Slice Fractions. My son, I think, started playing this when he was 4. Fractions are just part of who he is at this point. There was no explicit instruction in that. Viativ Labs, incredible virtual reality in countries all around the world right now from immersive learning. We're starting to see some incredible outcomes from an immersive learning perspective, and Viativ Labs is leading the way. One of my favorites is a virtual reality experience and company that's focusing on really how do we teach inclusion and diversity. As we all know, we're born racist, we're born with a bias. So from a virtual reality perspective, how do we actually go through teaching ourselves diversity and inclusion? Incredibly powerful set of products coming out there. And then this is just a small handful of literally the thousands of companies that are creating now with Unity, whether it's learning games, virtual reality, augmented reality, simulations, and I'm very honored to have a lot of you in the crowd as partners of ours. All right, so we've spoken about the player. We're very clear on what the player perspective is, leading with curiosity, focusing with problem solving. The biggest ask I have gotten in working with kids around the world is, can I actually mod this game? I can do a better job than you did with this game, and they actually can. So what we've tried to bring to bear are incredible opportunities that the learner is actually engaged now in modding and using modding as an opportunity. Here's just a small example of a modding opportunity where you're playing a video game, you're moving in and actually deciding to add to that video game creations from potentially other video games or other interactive experiences. You decide you actually want to modify those components. You don't like the attribute of the key. You want the mechanism of the game to change into a more interesting game approach. And then you start learning, as you open up those attributes, those behaviors, those actions, which is what makes up interactive experiences, that you can move into block-based coding and then eventually into scripting. So again, a very non-traditional approach to learning how to program from scratch, but rather how do we use your engagement, your curiosity, your desire to problem solve, and bring it in from a modding perspective. Again, some other great examples of this. If you're not familiar with Ready, Ready is an amazing creative tool if you don't have programming experience yet. Whatever you create in Ready, any interactive experience can be integrated and uploaded into Unity as your programming skills start to improve. Of course, how could we have a modding conversation without talking about Minecraft? Perhaps the greatest learning opportunity from a modding perspective in the number of people, the number of experiences that have been created. So moving into a creator. So we're at the point now where this empathetic creator has learned how to play, how to interact, how to mod, how to start changing, and they have decided that it is time to begin really looking at where does my career want to go. So this is really kind of 12, 13-year-old, all the way up to lifelong learning with adults. And this is where Unity does really start to focus in our work. If you're not familiar with us, I'm just going to give a few kind of ground rules on who Unity is. All of you have us on your phone, whether you know it or not. So really, our values and our belief at Unity is we believe the world is a better place with more creators. And what you'll also see me talk about towards the end of this presentation is we believe it's a better place with more diverse creators as well. We started off as a game engine about 15 years ago and have since moved into really every single industry that needed real-time simulations. We're the most broadly used real-time 3D tool in the world right now. You can see us obviously continuing with our gaming, but coming across all different industries. Pokemon Go is probably one of the most famous games that we've created. A few cheers in the crowd. It does work here if you want to go outside. We tested it. Spheres, just a great example of a virtual reality experience in space. We've moved into the automotive industry. Huge announcements yesterday with Autodesk, where everything you're creating in Autodesk can be imported now into Unity. Automotive is using us to create the design simulations for the cars, really saving time and money, and then most of all, improving creativity. We have quite a few machine learning and AI work that we're doing also within the automotive industry. If you haven't seen Coco's, great movie. Coco's VR experience is even better, created in Unity. We've moved into film as well. And then architecture, engineering, and construction, creating augmented reality and virtual reality across all of those industries. Education and healthcare, as I mentioned before, is also a key area. This is a great example of doctor and nurse training on virtual reality for life-saving techniques for infants, as far as how they're training their staff. So we're in 192 countries. That's every country in the world except for a few. We've got 6 million creators who are using the platform, and 1.5 million students who are on the platform as well. The key, I think, with Unity's success is that you can build once and deploy to all of the devices that you would ever want to deploy to. So you're not having to target a different platform. What that turns into is a really staggering number. And this is what I mean by going from being a creator to an enabler. Unity is actually downloaded on over 3 billion devices globally. So we provide that reach at your fingertips when you learn how to become a creator. And we've got a little under 30 billion downloads that have happened this year so far. So that's sort of the ground rules on who Unity is and why I personally chose, after 20 years, to continue my career here as I looked how really to scale impact. I just want to spend a couple of minutes on what we do from an education perspective. We take this really seriously, that we believe that everyone in the world can become a creator, independent, again, of where you're born or what type of culture you're being raised in. Everybody is a creator at their soul, and it's up to us to be able to bring that to the forefront. So from a learner perspective, we are very serious about providing free Unity licenses to students. I'll repeat that again. $1,500 per license. We provide that free to every student, every school. You just have to fill in a grant request form as an educator or a principal to be able to get those licenses. We also provide to our learners all of the self-paced tutorials, projects, experiences that they would need to go from a non-creator all the way to a creator, and then certifications that can prove their worth within the job marketplace. Focusing on the educators, which, as we all know, are really the key levers to scale for us. From an educator perspective, we've got all of the curriculum and projects that are required, again, not just within computer science or the digital arts, but across all fields of study. So you can begin integrating creating into all of your areas of work. And then also looking at educator training and certification. And then finally, we have a whole community and academic alliance program for educators and schools that are really leading the way in innovation. Finally, as we've said before, we've got thousands of education providers who are using Unity, really being able to integrate either into Unity or creating their experiences within Unity to impact the entire world. If you have not been keeping up, we have moved into machine learning and artificial intelligence also within Unity experiences. So our goal is to really give you the power that you need to make the impact that you're looking for. A few highlights from the work that we do around the world. Games for Change, I think Suzanne is here who leads Game for Change. Incredible student challenge that we ran last year. What you see here are two examples. Again, really strong social impact that the kids created, one around healthy eating and the other around how you create communities to solve problems. Great work that we're doing in India, which we'll be announcing as well, some winners later on from our existing hackathon. And then a current game challenge we have right now, focusing on India again. India, I think, is leading the way in the number of challenges that we have from a student perspective. So finally, this is the part that's most important to me, and the empathetic creator is the key for us in really creating the peaceful, sustainable world that we're all trying to collaborate around together. So rest assured, if your students are moving into becoming creators, they will have jobs. Incredible job growth that we have in Unity, not just in the demand that's happening, but the pay for Unity developers that you can see there globally from these numbers. And then from a LinkedIn perspective, last year, Unity was the 7th most in-demand job in the world. So huge opportunity in learning Unity, becoming prepared in Unity to move on to being a creator. But more importantly than not is ensuring that these creators are diverse. These, to me, are the most concerning numbers that we have an opportunity to change here. So as you can see, the first line is the percentage of developers, the percentage of creators that are women, less than 12% in the game industry. Half of the women are players. Percentage of developers that are Black, only 3%, with 53% of Black adults as gamers. And then the last is the percentage of white. Incredibly concerning, and time for us to really invest in the diversity that we need. We cannot have a world of non-diverse creators creating for the brilliant, diverse world we live in. These are the numbers that next year when I come back, I want to be able to show you something different. So if you're not convinced yet, please take photos of this. If you don't realize that diversity is better for business, these are the data points that will help either convince you or convince any of your peers who may not think that. My favorite number is the one at the bottom, that companies that have the highest level of racial diversity brought in 15 times more revenue. That is pretty staggering than their counterparts. And don't worry, I have one more slide of data if you still can't convince that person on the importance of diversity. All right, so with that, I just wanted to conclude in one of my favorite games. Again, if you're not a diverse creator, this would never have come to fruition. This is a game about children abductions and really playing the game, understanding what it's like to be abducted, understanding what it's like to escape, and trying to be brought back. We need more of these games and more of these empathetic creators to really bring these experiences to life and tell these stories. So I'm going to conclude on a different note. I actually brought my son here from San Francisco. Isaac is he's gonna stand up and wave. So I didn't have to convince Isaac to come to India. He's obsessed with India. He thinks it's the most amazing country on earth. He has really brought to life for me what I want to conclude with, which is all of these innovations we've seen over our careers, decades long of technology outpacing us. At the end of the day, the relationship between an amazing coach, not a sage on the stage like I had with Sister Timothy, but a guide on the side, that amazing coach, is what will really enable these empathetic creators. So I'll conclude with just the question for you, which is, what impact will you scale? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jessica Lindell. It was a quite enlightening talk. I've been an educator myself, and often the students would say, why don't you bring something new to the classroom? Why don't you build games? And I would what I could manage would be PowerPoint presentations and maybe a little bit of Smash. And yeah, that was quite miserable. But the way you make it sound, it appears to be very convenient and easy. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we have the catch box tool that I was talking in the beginning of my talk. We're going to open the keynote talk to some questions. And this is like a little game, as you can see. I'm just going to like pop it out, drop it to you. If you have a question, if you wish to ask Ms. Jessica Lindell something from the presentation, or if you're curious to know more about the initiatives and the projects, then just raise your hands. I'll pass this on to you. I'll try really hard with all the muscular power that I have. And we open the keynote session to the question and answers. You think it's okay?
Sounds good.
So any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. So don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. It has some layers around it. Okay, so here you go.
Can I ask my question? Am I, okay. Oh. So my question is, we as educators have all the buy for gamified learning, and like we understand that when we promote game development through students, they are also equally excited and we can foster too many 21st century skills. But I think we need to do a lot about parent orientation. When we give these kind of projects and kids work at home, these parents complain. What are you doing? They are always with the devices. We are trying to keep them away from the games, and you are asking them to develop games. How to bring them on this platform and make them understand that the kind of creativity, imagination, problem solving that you are going to...
One of the key things is educating our parents on how, this is something I was hearing from a peer yesterday, how diverse the experiences you can have on digital devices are. that you're reading books on digital devices, you are playing games, you are doing social media, but understanding that can transpose different mediums.
Okay, so I'm going to pass on the close.
Adding to her question, now we have focused on completing the syllabus and finishing the whole syllabus in the academic year. When do we have time to focus on the games when the curriculum itself is not including or encouraging any of these things?
Yeah, I think I would argue, based on the results that we've seen from curriculum that integrates a game-based approach, that the exponential growth you'll get in covering that curriculum is even faster and greater than the traditional curricular approach.
More questions? Okay, so I'm going to throw it to you. Try catching.
I'm so glad I'm not throwing that.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you for a very nice presentation. It was really awesome. I got to know a lot of things about Unity already right now. So now, to my question, what happens to people in other traditional disciplines, not just information technology? Can they key into what Unity is offering? Thank you.
Just to repeat the question to make sure that I heard it clearly, which is what happens to people in other disciplines besides technology? Excellent. So I think what we're seeing is that technology is infusing every part of our lives, that it's not just a domain or vertical, but that it's integrated with all of our experiences, really creating digital experiences everywhere, and that we want to ensure that traditional artists, people focused on mechanical engineering or more hardware approaches are actually being given these skills as well in order to maintain the innovations within their various industries. One example of that at Unity is we have a huge asset store, which our many traditional artists have learned how to take their art and creativity to the assets that are integrated into the real-time 3D experiences.
Okay, some more questions. I'm passing it on to you.
Yeah, hi. So being an educator, I just have one question. I mean, we also grow up with that traditional mindset. So how, being an educator, I evaluate the growth and outcome of a child in a classroom? I mean, if you have 30 to 40 kids in a classroom. And I think it brings back to the first question, then it would be easier for me to convince the parents and other stakeholders involved that actually digital gaming is, leads to growth and mindset of a child.
Could you just repeat that question again?
Oh,
Sorry, I have a hard time hearing you.
Am I audible now?
I can hear you.
Yeah. So I just have one question. I mean, being an educator and coming from the traditional mindset only, how do I evaluate and the learning outcome of every child in my classroom through these digital gaming? Because I think the other stakeholders involved, like parents and all, can only be convinced if I'm able to show that outcome. And how is that possible for every child in a classroom?
Yeah, I think that is one of the biggest, most important questions for us as a community to answer. Again, back to one of the biggest mistakes I made is thinking that I was coming out with great innovation and realizing that it was taking the teachers I was serving so much more time that they just couldn't allow for it. And so when we think about assessments, unfortunately, the fastest, quickest approach to assessments, as we know, are either paper or digital-based, norm-referenced, standardized assessments. If we could start looking at assessments that were based on evidence-centered design, really looking at the data and analytics from digital experiences. Secondly, I think what we're seeing a lot as well are peer-based assessments, having your peers be able to provide the assessments for you as well. But this is really an important area of innovation for us to keep working on to ensure that it's not taking you more time.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we move ahead to the next set of questions, So there are some amazing questions and some amazing responses from Ms. Jessica Lindell, but unfortunately we're not able to hear all of them because there's a constant socializing which is happening here. So if you could park it for a while, and if we could engage in these conversations, it'll be really great. Thank you. So I now pass the mic to probably the second part of the hall. Sir, please.
Thank you. Am I audible?
I can.
Okay. To all the answers for the parents, for the evaluation, in my school in Mumbai, we are taking lessons based on games, including evaluations and learning. And it is a fantastic response. No complaints at all about from the parents, and no problem at all in evaluations. Because it is a lesson plan which works for 1 hour, where the students play games for about 20 minutes. Concepts are explained, and in last 10 minutes, they write an evaluation sheet just like the following IGCSE. And it is a fantastic way of learning. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution.
So we have some students with us, young enthusiastic students, and I would now love to pass the mic to them. Catch.
Good morning, everyone. And my question is, are these games more based on primary and secondary education, or it is also it also supports professional education?
So if you look at the games that have been created with Unity, again, thousands of developers, hundreds of thousands of games. They cover what we call pre-K to gray. So really lifelong learning all the way through.
So we have this lady who's been asking me to pass the mic for the longest time. So now here you go.
Good morning, everyone. Jessica Lindell ji, it was very nice listening to you.
Thank you.
So my question is, I come from a public school. If you understand, I'm a teacher in a government school. So what I wanted to ask is, we all believe in universalization of education. So how come we all strive together so that the poverty line students who are studying in government schools also have the opportunity to have all these games? They must have, even children, or every child is unique. And in the schools, government schools, they don't have the opportunity to have this, gaming and all these things. They don't know at all. So is your Unity education working towards this universalization of education?
So we are
Thank you.
So again, just a reminder, Unity creates a platform for you as creators to publish on. It's up to you to decide how to monetize that. What we can control is what we decide to do, which is, as I said, try and give everything away for free. As we all know, the biggest challenges we create are not only the digital divide, but what I would also call the innovation divide, and really the willingness to be able to take risks. I had the opportunity to spend almost a year in India working in public schools. The students and learners that I worked with there were the most determined, focused learners I think I've ever worked with in my life. And my hope is that the work that we do here with UNESCO, as well as local government policymakers, can really enable closing that digital divide so you can truly innovate as well.
Okay, moving ahead. Any more questions? Okay, so that's going to be quite tough.
My name is Arsalan, and I came from Afghanistan. I'm so happy to be here, and I heard your presentation. It was so nice. And one part of your presentation was about equality and equity, but I would like to know when in real mean the equality will come to our education life.
I don't think I have the ability to forecast that.
It means that as people with disabilities are not including in education section in all over the world, most of the countries, especially in Afghanistan.
Thank you for highlighting that.
Questions, and there's this gentleman, please.
Thank you. My name is Shahadat Ahmed. I'm from Bangladesh. I teach in a government primary school in Bangladesh. So my question is, in developing countries like Bangladesh, how can we implement unity in a simplest form to create contextual games in the under-resourced schools of Bangladesh? And what kind of support can we expect from Unity to implement that in our underprivileged schools?
We would love to collaborate with you on that. An idea for you is how do you support your teachers, your educators into becoming designers? We could provide the training to your teachers to learn how to create their own interactive 3D experiences, whether they're learning games or any other simulations across fields of study.
Thank you.
Jessica, we have a couple of more questions for you. Are you in?
I am in. I am always open to help from the crowd as
Lovely,
well.
lovely. So I pass on the mic here, and then I'm going to pass the mic there. Just wait, people.
Hello. Yeah, hi, Jessica. It was so nice to see your keynote here. So just to answer your question, if you don't mind, I would like to add on something like, because you showed one of the events called Game Jam Titans that we host in India that helps students not only display their skills in game development, but we as Mindbox, we're using this platform, Unity, in our programs to teach children how they can develop their 21st century skills with the help of gaming. And now may I come to the question, please. So Jessica, one of the challenges that we face in schools is the space for technology in their timetable. That is the amount of time that schools give per week to students inside the labs, because most of these programs happen in a separate lab, at least in India, where the classrooms are not essentially equipped with computers or the devices required. So what would be your take, or what would be your suggestion to all educators here so that they would be motivated, or rather encouraged to take steps towards giving more time for such classes? Thank you.
Thank you. I think the way to, first of all, thank you so much for your support. I think the way to approach this is not to consider technology as a pullout. Again, technology is just a tool. It's a tool that can be added to any field of study and not necessarily to be considered a pullout that we should add more hours to.
Thank you, Jessica. And we have some more young kids.
Hi, ma'am. So what my question is that in underdeveloped countries, like the world is connected through social media, right? And now what I'm thinking is of that the whole world should have one curriculum, like one curriculum of education, and that should be through games and all. So I want to ask that when do you think this change will come in the whole world? I mean, like in developed countries, yes, we can say in around 5 years, developed countries will have. Underdeveloped countries, okay, fine. Let me guess, 20 years? What do you think about it?
I think the question is for you. When can you create one curriculum for us?
No, well, see, the thing is that you want to spread games around the world. So I just want to know, when do you think that the whole world will get used to it? I mean, like, in underdeveloped countries, you know, social media is now a big thing for them. So when do you think that games will change their life?
Thank you. I do still think it's up to you. Hold on one sec.
Jessica, this is Vipin from VATO Labs, and we are really proud to be a great partner with Unity, and things we have done together globally in different ways. And good to see, and thanks for your reference there. I would like to add one thing for the questions about underprivileged and the low budget schools and what can be done there in those countries and in those regions. So I'll give an example, and due to our partnership with Unity, we have been able to, as VATO, create a very immersive and engaging learning solution for K-12 school education. And an example of that is that within India, in the low private budget school section, which is the lower income grade, we are now taking a virtual reality-based classroom program using Unity to 80,000 schools, which is the largest transformation in the world using advanced technology like virtual reality and Unity, and not just in India. So my message is it can be done, it is being done. It is a matter of having a social enterprise flavor in you, besides being an entrepreneur and besides being a businessman, and that's how we work together with Unity, and would love to answer specific questions on how it can go to low-income schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Oh, so you.
Very impressive talk, Jessica. It's an honor to get to know you. My name is Anand Govindaluri. I'm from Singapore. I'm an investor. I invest in startups. My question to you is, what are the key ingredients of success for startup in the education field, especially having learned about Unity? Once upon a time, it was a startup, and today you are so big. So what went right for you, especially in the education sector? Because we want to build great companies in the education field, and the edtech sector in India is at a nascent stage. It's evolving. So we would like to get some insights from you. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I think this goes back to the mistakes I've made in my career to really teach me that in order, there are 3 keys to a successful education startup. And I look at that again across the whole pre-K to gray sector. So young as 2 or 3-year-olds all the way up to the end of our lives. The first and most important is it easy to use? Did you have empathy for the user? Did you understand what their lives were like? Did you really create this as a seamless experience for them to be able to learn from? The second is this sustainable? Where is the revenue going to be coming from? And is that revenue sustainable to be able to support you? So many amazing innovations have either been way too hard to use, or it was really unclear around what the business model or the revenue structure is. And then third, unfortunately, is what is the impact in that order? What are the gains that you're getting as a learner to be able to invest both your time and your money or somebody else's money to be able to cover those learning experiences? Thanks.
Thank you, audience. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
So that's the height difference. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll shortly commence with the opening ceremony for Tech 2018. In the meanwhile, we have for you the highlights from Tech 2017 and what's in store for you Tech 2018. May I please request the videos to be played?
Visakhapatnam. And it's one of the best conferences I've ever attended, maybe the best conference I've ever attended for any number of reasons. Tech 2017 conference in Visakhapatnam. And it's one of the best conferences I've ever attended, maybe the best conference I've ever attended for any number of reasons.
So it's been a very interesting experience. In the gaming industry, we were lucky because there's so many conferences we get to attend in a year. But speaking about the social aspect of the gaming, of producing games, of using games, this is usually very marginal. This is not the main topics. So to be able to allow 2 or 3 or 4 days to speak about those aspects, it's a very, very interesting and nourishing experience for me.
So building robots is a really effective way to learn about technology. It doesn't need to be a literal robot, but just having sensors that can sense the world and respond to it is already a very engaging activity. Understanding electronics, computer science, and how to build things is useful in any engineering field, and robotics is one of the only ways to do all of that in one fell stroke.
Well, I think it's going to make all the difference in the world, because there are people like this woman right here whom we should interview who are using technology to do things that we could not have done before in terms of reaching people in the more rural areas. And we can do it in a cost-effective way.
It depends on the world you're trying to make. If you want to create a world in which it's equal and there's less suffering and everybody has the same rights, then there's a huge education divide. If our goal is to create a world the way it looks right now, where some people thrive on the backs of others, the education system's working perfectly for everybody. My goal is to create a better world for everyone. That's what I'd like to see. And I'd like to see a more equitable world. And in that case, I would say everywhere is failing on that, because most places are creating an education system that continues to perpetuate a world of inequality.
I think the conference, I love the theme and the emphasis on humanity, compassion, empathy, you know, these broader aspects, just like the session we had today about critical thinking and compassion and empathy. We can't forget about these human aspects of our education system.
I think MGIP has succeeded in putting together a fantastic conference with an amazing amount of very interesting people from all over the world. And it's been extremely exciting, extremely enriching, if the word exists. But I think we will all leave Vizag with being better persons.
I'm really glad to come here and learn something new which I don't know, and I really thank UNESCO for giving this an opportunity so that we'll get an idea of what we need to do.
Tech is a great conference because usually when we are talking about education, you never mention these kind of topics as artificial intelligence, games, like the topics that are the trends of today's world. So tech is like the cutting edge of the conference in education.
Tech 2017 is going to change the way that conferences on digital and ed tech is done. In most cases, it always is a trade show with a little bit of substantive intellectual content. In our case, it's 90% intellectual content and 10% a trade show.
nomone ewe kaloku ngamamene mene ngamalokonya indes nomone ewe kaloku ngamamene ewe kaloku ngamamene mene ngamalokonya indes nomona ewe kaloku ngamamene mene ngamalokonya indes nomone ewe kaloku ngamamene mene ngamalokonya indes nomone ewe kaloku ngamamene
There's definitely a role, a continuing role for teachers to guide and to introduce concepts, but games are a way to really interact with educational curriculum in a way that is very hard to do in other situations. There's a whole generation of digital natives that is coming up. Everybody grows up with devices in their hands, and with those devices they have control over what they're pursuing. They can follow their curiosity, they can answer questions, and they can experiment with the world and the information that they have. And so we need to make sure that education allows them to continue to exercise that power and to have the agency to follow their curiosity.
I think that there's a huge potential to be reaped, and one of the advantages is that there's the neurosciences can be used to show that games actually activate all the different parts of the brain, the thinking brain to the feeling brain. And once you have those connections, you actually can train people to be empathetic, to be compassionate, to be critical thinkers, which are basically all the properties that we want for the 21st century skills of our young people. Games have some of the properties that we think learning should have, which is games should be immersive, games should be interactive, games should be where it provides a safe space for the child to learn at his own pace, and games can actually be used to as an assessment.
So you learn through failure that you need to think about what you're doing, have plans, coordinate with other people, communicate effectively, regulate what you're doing, not just be a wild man.
Of course, there are not too many talks which talk about gaming and digital learning. So it was a lot of fun to hear Chris as well as Ananta and get their insights on digital learning.
As Chris said, games are giving you a hands-on kind of experiential learning, and this is what the Indian student needs. We have been doing rote learning, we've been memorizing everything for ages, and I don't think it has led us to being really educated.
As and when more people start consuming that sort of gaming content, it will start getting more acceptance.
What education really means is that if a game is going to teach me how to remove garbage and how to remove plastic bottles and pick them up and throw them in the dustbin, or for instance how to follow traffic laws, and when I come in real life and I do all those things that I have been doing, I replicate all those actions that I have been taking on a gaming platform, then I'd say games or including gaming in education.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to inform you that we are now being joined by esteemed guests. Please join hands to welcome the Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Nara Chandrababu Naidu, Her Excellency Rosa Otunbayeva, Member of MGIP Governing Board and former President of Kyrgyzstan, the Honorable Minister of Human Resource and Development, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Ganta Srinivas Rao, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Human Resource and Development, Dr. Sarvana Kumar, Deputy Chief Minister and Home Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri N. Chinnarajappa, Special Chief Secretary, Andhra Pradesh, Shri Adityanath Das, Honorable Minister for Tribal Welfare and Empowerment, Shri Kedari Shravan Kumar, and UNESCO MJIP Director, Professor Ananta Dweirappa. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a huge round of applause. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. We'll shortly commence with the opening ceremony for Tech 2018. Na chaur haryam, na cha raj haryam, na bhrat bhajyam, na cha bharikari. Vyay krite vardhate nityam, vidyadhanam sarve dhanam pradhanam. Education is the best wealth among all. No one can steal it, no state can snatch it. It cannot be divided among brothers and sisters, and it's not heavy to carry. As one consumes it or spends it, it only increases. As one shares it, it only expands. The Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Chandrababu Naidu, Her Excellency Rosa Otunbayeva, Member of MGIP Governing Board and former President of Kyrgyzstan, the Honorable Minister of Human Resource and Development, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Ganta Srinivas Rao, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Human Resource Development, Dr. Sarvana Kumar, Deputy Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh and Home Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri N. Chinnarajappa, Special Chief Secretary, Andhra Pradesh, Shri Adityanath Das, Honorable Minister for Tribal Welfare and Empowerment, Shri Kedari Shravan Kumar, UNESCO MJIP Director, Professor Ananta Dweirappa, distinguished experts, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to all of you to the second Transforming Education Conference for Humanity, Tech 2018 at Visakhapatnam. I also take this moment to welcome Honorable Minister for Education, Human Resource and Development, and Religious Affairs Grenada, Ms. Emmeline Pierre, the Deputy Vice Minister of Higher Education, Egypt, Professor Dr. Yasser Refat Abdel Fattah Mohammed, Deputy Minister of Education, Republic of Ghana, Dr. Yao Osai Udutum, and India's representative to the Executive Board of UNESCO, Dr. J.S. Rajput. I also acknowledge the presence of senior officials amongst us from Bangladesh, Bhutan, Kyrgyzstan, Malaysia, Senegal, and India. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that light and brightness has always been equated with positivity, knowledge, and enlightenment. With it comes the strength to challenge one's own ignorance and beliefs. And in invoking this strength today, let us begin the day with lamp lighting. And to do the honors, may I request our dignitaries to kindly join us. The Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Nara Chandrababu Naidu, Her Excellency Rosa Otunbayeva, Member of MGIP Governing Board and former President of Kyrgyzstan, the Honorable Minister of Human Resource and Development, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Ganta Srinivas Rao, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Human Resource Development, Dr. Sarvana Kumar, and UNESCO MGIP Director, Professor Ananta Dweirappa. keep the hall roaring, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, esteemed guests. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now begin with the inaugural address. Our first speaker is no stranger to UNESCO MGIP. She has been on the MGIP governing board since its inception and has constantly showered the institute with her guidance. She is also well known internationally as the interim president of the Kyrgyz Republic after the 2010 revolution. Her foundation, the Rosa Otunbayeva Initiative International Public Foundation, has been widely recognized for its holistic approach towards development in Kyrgyz Republic. For this lifelong commitment, she was also recently awarded the Common Ground Award. Ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, I now invite Her Excellency Rosa Otunbayeva, former President of Kyrgyzstan, for the inaugural speech.
Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished members, friends, and colleagues. It gives me, as a member of the governing board of the Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education for Peace and Sustainable Development, great pleasure to welcome you to this unique conference focused on digital pedagogies for developing 21st century skills. Honorable Chief Minister, I want to express our warm gratitude for tremendous support of Andhra Pradesh state to this conference, to the activity of UNESCO in India, and to warm hospitality which you offered to us for the second time. UNESCO MGIP's mission encompasses a broad and global mandate, that of transforming education and learning for building peaceful and sustainable societies. MGIP has made significant progress over the past 4 years since it started its activities in developing a suite of innovative pedagogies focusing on building the social, emotional skills of learners in the formal, informal, and non-formal space. Such pedagogies are designed to make learners more human, conscious, and aware of living more sustainably and in peace. The use of the digital medium is increasing exponentially in the education sector. Contrary to claims that this will create a greater inequality gap, MGIP believes that it is an absolute necessity to narrow the inequality gap as digital platforms are becoming increasingly accessible. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the fourth industrial revolution is rapidly changing the world. The internet, global economy, climate change have shown that what happens locally can have a profound impact globally. This means that the next generation will need to live as both a local and global citizen. Students have to learn to connect with others outside their own communities at a very young age. Technology empowers learners to connect and prepares them to embrace the change. In a rapidly changing world where technology in every aspect is impacting lives and redefining the norm, the ability to reinvest, to adapt, to create new ways of teaching, delivery of instruction, personalizing learning are all crucial. How are the learners, teachers, schools, policymakers, and local communities adapting to the change? MGIP has been working with partners, many of you here, of developing games, virtual reality, immersive learning tools. Tech is without doubt unique conference, bringing together policymakers, learning science experts, education psychologists, educators, startups, established education technology companies, and teachers to discuss how to make learning fun and relevant. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my second tech conference, and I can seriously say Tech 2017 opened my eyes to what the future of education might look like and how we need to respond fast. Today, learners want to choose his or her own path of learning. They want to be autonomous. They want to self-certify their skills. Technology enables such a personalization to happen. Technology is a great leveler in terms of quality and access. I invite you all to meet the thought leaders who are transforming education, impacting lives with better ways of engaging the student for enhanced learning outcomes, not just for rational analytical skills, but also for building emotional intelligence, for building empathetic and compassionate individuals who will be the future agents of change for building peaceful and sustainable societies. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Also, our heartiest congratulations for receiving the Common Ground Award. I would now like to invite UNESCO Delhi Director and representative to Bhutan, India, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Eric Falt, to share the Director General of UNESCO, Audrey Azoulay's message.
Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Sri Chandrababu Naidu, Her Excellency Rosa Otunbuyeva, former President of Kyrgyzstan and member of the governing board of the UNESCO Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education for Peace and Sustainable Development, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Director General Audrey Azoulay, I'm very pleased to read her message to all of you today. Let me begin by thanking the Government of India and the State of Andhra Pradesh for their support for Tech 2018, the first conference of its kind on digital pedagogies. Unlike other conferences on information and communication technology, this conference focuses on digital technologies as a tool for transformative pedagogy. The endeavor to mainstream social emotional learning through digital pedagogies is indeed a novel approach. Many would even say it is a contradiction in terms, but in fact, early findings from the neurosciences of learning suggest otherwise. For example, gaming for learning has been found to stimulate the emphatic parts of our brains. The Mahatma Gandhi Institute's flagship magazine, The Blue Dot, keeps abreast of these developments, and I invite you to consult this useful resource. Artificial intelligence, AI in short, is another area that shows great promise for education. It is expected to transform the way teachers work by offering new teaching aids and revolutionizing the way in which students receive personalized learning. It could also enlarge access, potentially leading to more inclusive education. Currently, there is no universally recognized institutional framework on the ethics of AI and its relationship to education. And UNESCO, with the support of member states, has begun to reflect on such ethical principles. By its mandate, UNESCO is ideally placed to play a key role in supporting member states to increase the accessibility of technology and promoting the use of digital educational tools that encourage learning. Additionally, UNESCO's role will be crucial for rethinking educational curricula by bringing into focus socio-emotional learning to build the emotional intelligence of future generations of learners. I am pleased that the UNESCO Mahatma Gandhi Institute, our Category 1 institute in the Asia-Pacific region, has taken the lead on exploring ways AI can be harnessed to integrate social-emotional learning into our educational systems. Progress has already been made with the development of an open source, indigenously designed and collaborative curriculum development and learning platform that allows educators and students to innovate, develop, and implement curriculum. This collective human intelligence platform will use advanced AI and data analytics to personalize the learning experience for each user. The wide range of participants here today, including neuroscientists, development psychologists, ministries of education officials, policymakers, futurists, researchers, educators, students, and gamers, indicates the broad interest in this topic, and I am sure will lead to an inspiring debate. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the message of Director General Audrey Azoulay. Very briefly, on a personal note, as Director of the UNESCO New Delhi Office for essentially South Asia, I would like to express my solidarity and also admiration for the work of my colleagues at MGIEP. Ananta provides leadership in areas where most fear to tread, and thanks to him, MGIP has imposed itself in only a few years as a premier UNESCO institute. Beyond the success of the conference itself, the initiative of MGIP to develop guidelines for digital learning is, in my view, a very welcome and innovative one, and I really hope that it can be pushed forward for the next UNESCO General Conference in 2019. For that, it will need what I would call champions among the member states, and I'm sure that some of the countries that are represented here at high levels, beginning, of course, with India, will know how to lead the charge. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now invite on podium Joint Secretary, Minister of Human Resource Development, Government of India, Dr. Sarvana Kumar, to address the crowd. Let's welcome him with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Respected Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Sri Nara Chandrababu Naidu ji, Honorable Ministers from Andhra Pradesh, Sri Ganta Srinivasa Rao ji, Sri N. Chinna Rajappa ji, Sri Kidari Shravan Kumar ji, Her Excellency Roja Kutunbayeva, Dr. Ananta Durayappa, Sri Adityanath Das, the Additional Chief Secretary, Human Resource Development Department in Andhra Pradesh government, and the honorable ministers who had come from different countries, Professor J.S. Rajput, who is India's representative in the UNESCO's executive board and also in the UNESCO MGIP governing board, Mr. Eric Falt, the director UNESCO Delhi office, the delegates who have come from different parts of the world, and also the delegates who have come from different parts of our country. It's my privilege to attend this second edition of Tech Conference also. I was there in the last conference here, and I could really see the growing participation in a very significant way just after one edition. And I am sure for the next edition, definitely we would need a bigger hall, and I am sure Visakhapatnam, the way it is developing, will afford to, I think, give a bigger hall here, because that's the way the participation is increasing here. Dear delegates, I would like to mention a few things, like India being a very populous country and has one of the higher, very large educational systems in the world. And we always had some challenges in the education sector. To say a few, the important ones being the access and also the expansion of the system, the excellence and the employability. So they have been challenges because they had competing demands on the meager resources, with the country like India. But now technology, especially through the ICT initiatives, so that gives us an opportunity to find a fine balance between all these competing demands. So now we are in a position to achieve both excellence and also equal access in a very significant way. Why we need to really go for digital learning? Number one being like India cannot afford to go only for a brick and mortar model alone. India just cannot afford. And the second one being the quality contents. Like, if we have a GER in higher education system of around 25.8%, which is not uniform throughout the country also. States like Andhra or maybe Chandigarh, they have a very high GER. But then there are many states, remote parts of our country where they have a very poor GER. So it is quite possible now through the ICT initiatives, the quality contents can be carried out to the remotest corners of our country also. And the third one is the multi-sensory approach involved in this digital learning. So that is found to be scientifically proved to improve the learning outcomes significantly. So the ICT initiatives can be used for promoting blended learning and also lifelong learning for all those learners who are out of the educational system also. Government of India has been taking various steps to promote the technology-enabled learning in both in schools and colleges. And I'm very happy to say the Andhra Pradesh is one of the provinces in our country who is a pioneer in this ICT initiative, with the able leadership of Honorable the Chief Minister, Sri Chandrababu Naidu ji, who is considered as a revolutionary leader who pioneered ICT in various aspects of governance, including education. This tech conference of 2018, this is happening, this is being organized by MGIEP, which is the UNESCO's Category 1 institute located in Delhi. And from the Government of India, of course, we do give generous support to MGIEP. And I'm extremely thankful, and I would like to record the Government of India's appreciation to Andhra Pradesh government for extending their generous support in organizing this tech conference. And this is becoming a major hit, as I just mentioned. This is growing up very well, and it's really in a very good progress. I would like to mention, yesterday we had a high-level policy forum meeting on quality of digital learning. Because when we talk about digital learning, the major issue which we are facing nowadays is the digital contents. It is not the availability of contents. In fact, sometimes it is too much availability of the contents. So that's posing a problem. So there comes the importance to finalize some standards and also some guidelines for the digital contents and also for the digital pedagogies. A very useful discussion happened, and we have finalized a declaration in that regard. So that's, I'm happy to say like it's going to be called Vizag Declaration. So now that will work upon the guidelines, and then finally the guidelines will be moved to the UNESCO's General Conference to be passed there. I would like to mention this Vizag Declaration is going to show the entire world the way how we need to move ahead in dealing with the digital contents and the digital pedagogies. So I'm sure MGIP will take a major role in this, and India is committing to take a proactive role in working with other countries to finalize the guidelines in this regard. I also want to assure in this particular forum that India's, especially Government of India's continuous support to MGIP in all their future endeavors also. And I wish this Tech 2018 conference a huge success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker for the day is the Minister of Human Resource Development, Government of Andhra Pradesh. He also represents the Telugu Desam Party from Bhimli Assembly constituency. Ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, please welcome the Honorable Minister of Human Resource and Development, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Ganta Srinivas Rao.
Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Sri Nara Chandrababu Naidu Garu, Honorable Minister for Education, Human Resource Development and Religious Affairs, Canada, Enemilene Pere, Honorable Vice Minister of Higher Education, Egypt, Professor Dr. Yasir Rafat, Honorable Deputy Minister in charge of General Education, Ghana, Dr. Ya Wasio Aditwin, His Excellency Roja Otubino, former President of Kyrgyzstan, Director UNESCO MJF Dr. Ananta Darapaya, senior policy makers from education sector, Malaysia, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Quebec, Senegal, Kyrgyzstan, distinguished guests, friends and students. Welcome to Visakhapatnam. It is indeed an honor and proud privilege to be present here in this prestigious Tech 2018 Global Conference. This is the second edition of a global conference jointly organized by Government of Andhra Pradesh and UNESCO, Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education for Peace and Sustainable Government, with the support of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. The conference focuses on digital pedagogies for transformative learning experiences and building 21st century skills. It is pertinent to mention that the Government of Andhra Pradesh, under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Nara Chandrababu Naidu Garu, has given top priority to the development of education in the state and putting tremendous efforts to making the state as knowledge state and educational hub. On impact of his vision and sustainable efforts initiations, Government of AP has shown a phenomenal growth in education sector and made government educational institutions as smarter by providing digital and virtual classrooms, latest equipments, online courses, skill development initiatives, and effective monitoring systems by investing huge amount of budget. The subject chosen, particularly digital pedagogies for the conference, is timely and very important in the present global scenario. These digital pedagogies such as video games and AI-driven education platforms help in building 21st century skills such as design thinking, systems thinking, critical inquiry, empathy, compassion, mindfulness, collaboration, and communication in a stress-free and fun way. These are necessary skills for building emotional and intellectual intelligence in order to make learning a deeply engaging process and also enhancing learning outcomes. Tech 2018 is a pedagogically content-rich conference bringing together over 1,000 global experts from more than 60 countries to Visakhapatnam, including ministers of education, scientists, AI experts, data experts, legal experts, design and storytelling experts. The conference will be a place to train teachers on such digital pedagogies through workshops, engage in dialogue with experts, building partnerships, and learn from best practices to make Tech 2018 a memorable event. There is a growing need for quality, equitable, and inclusive digital learning resources across the world. This increased demand for quality EdTech products represents huge in market. I am very happy to inform that Government of Andhra Pradesh is setting up the Intelligent Global Hub for Digital Pedagogies in Visakhapatnam with the knowledge partnerships of UNESCO MGIEAP. This hub is a unique ecosystem and will generate thousands of high-skilled jobs, train highly specialized talent, and in its expand innovation, bringing global research, industries, and investment to this region. Tech 2018, the Vizag Declaration will help to establish Andhra Pradesh as the skill capital of India, upskilling teachers and became a fountainhead of global talent. which is a key element in the state government of Andhra Pradesh Vision 2029, which calls for a holistic approach to development towards creating happiness for the people of the state. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we regret to inform you that the Honorable Minister of Human Resource and Development, Government of India, Shri Prakash Javadekar, will not be able to join us. However, he sent us a video message.
Dignitaries on dais, of the dais, international representatives who have come here, and those educators, edu-entrepreneurs, experts, policymakers, researchers, scientists, I salute you. Because this is one important seminar where I would have liked to be there, but as I am fully engrossed in Rajasthan election, I am unable to attend. But UNESCO Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education is India's gift to the world. This institute has been built on global themes and is working tirelessly with new vision and in a mission mode to achieve educational transformation. Today, knowledge exponentially grows. Every day, new things are added to the existing knowledge. And at the same time, there is progress of technology. In my school days, government that time in 1960s had launched Operation Blackboard, because blackboard was the necessity of that time. But today I am proud to announce, and in this budget we have already announced, Operation Digital Board, and we have drawn a final plan of it, and we are going ahead with it. Within next 4 years, all the classrooms, 15 lakh classrooms will have digital boards in each classroom from 9th onwards. And there are many schools who also have digital board, and very many thousands of teachers are using digital technology for furthering cause of education, creating interest in education, bringing rural students to the classroom, attracting them, and then giving them, enrich them with knowledge, new information in a new fashion, in a new way. That is very important. So technology is important, content is important, and we are taking help of everybody. We had organized 7 seminars. All state participated. Educators participated, teachers, headmasters, and those NGOs who are working in this sector of education, and edu-entrepreneurs, all were called. They were allowed to give presentation. Like this seminar also, more than 300 presenters will give them their ideas, because these ideas matter. And what we are saying is that all those Manthan Shivirs which we organized succeeded. And from that we have drawn up a new plan for education. Our national education policy is also now ready and will be launched soon after the code of conduct is over, because there is election in 5 states. But after that we'll inaugurate it. We want to build character into a human being, because ultimately the purpose of education is to bring out a good human being out of it. It's not just overload of information which is important. Character building, value education, life skill education, experiential learning, physical education are all important for development as a good human being. Physical education teaches us discipline, builds stamina. Value education builds character. Experiential learning gives respect for labor and respect for how to do it. Otherwise, you are master of theory and practical, you are nothing. Then you are nothing. And life skill education. We must have those life skills because without life skills, we can't survive. But we must get proper education on that. When we came out with this formula of having all this into education, the moot problem was that today the curriculum overload is so much that students are under stress. And therefore, I decided and declared that we will reduce the curriculum by half within next 2-3 years. And I am happy this year also, our NCERT has taken great pains and what can be reduced, and more than 10 to 15% syllabus curriculum reduction will happen this year. But more to come in following years. Because ultimately we need time for physical education, for life skill education, for experiential learning, for value education, and for physical education. Digital education is the way of doing the things. We want to build a good nation out of education. And to that end, MGIP has taken many leads. We are actively cooperating with this institute. It's our institute, and I wish this Take Conference 2018 a grand success. And I'm eager to listen to your recommendations because that's what I value. I take cognizance of every good suggestions I receive. So waiting for your good suggestions. Thank you and all the best.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker needs no introduction. He is the winner of numerous awards, including the IT Indian of the Millennium from India Today, Business Person of the Year by the Economic Times, South Asian of the Year from Time Asia, and membership in the World Economic Forum's Dream Cabinet, to name a few. He is a visionary who pursues innovation strategies with great vigor and determination. Over his tenure, he has introduced many market-based reforms and populist schemes. One of his most celebrated strategies has been on digitalizing governance. Ladies and gentlemen, I now take the privilege to invite on podium Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Nara Chandrababu Naidu.
Her Excellency, Madam Roja Autunbuyawa, Honorable Ministers, my Cabinet colleagues, Deputy CM Chinnarajappa, Ganta Srinivasarao Garu, Shravan Kumar Garu, Director, UNESCO, MGIEP, Dr. Ananta Doravayappa, Special Chief Secretary, HRD, Ayathanath Das, Joint Secretary, Government of India, respected Sri Shravan Kumar, Honorable Minister, Science and Technology and Innovation, Government of Egypt, Sri Abdul Khalid Ghaffar, Honorable Minister of Education, HRD and Religious Affairs, Government of Grenada, Madam Emalian Pieri, Honorable Deputy Minister of Education, Ghana, Dr. Yawaisi Aditya, senior policy makers from education sector, Malaysia, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Quebec, Senegal, Kyrgyzstan, and respected dignitaries and invitees, friends. I am very happy to address this meeting. You are all aware, Visakhapatnam is a beautiful city, and also it is #1 city in terms of cleanliness. You will have a nice time here, excellent beaches, and also if you see here, one of the most beautiful hills. Everywhere there is a greenery, and also very delicious food also. You will have excellent seafood here. You can enjoy your stay. It is the city of destination. Future destiny is here. Sometimes this type of seminars will add further. Nowadays in Visakhapatnam we are conducting number of conventions. Recently we had FinTech convention also. Now on technology we are moving in a big way. And also 2017, we had first Tech 2017. It had wider participation, and it was a great success in introducing innovation and education in education. This time, I am very happy, second time. The theme is very clear, gaming and digital learning in education. Even objective, if you see, it is a platform for dialogue and capacity building across gaming, digital pedagogy, and education stakeholders. Solutions for transforming education from present-day classroom learning to interactive mode of learning. Ultimately, you agree with me, we are in knowledge economy. For education is very, very crucial. Even themes I have seen, very interesting themes. Transformative gaming and digital pedagogies for social and emotional learning, and also beyond 4 walls of the classroom, transformative gaming and digital pedagogies for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEMs plus, artificial intelligence and the future education, and also framework for application of digital technologies in education. Last year, in Tech 2017, we entered MOU with UNESCO, MGIEP, to establish an autonomous, intelligent global hub for digital pedagogies. I am very happy this hub has many first of its credits in creating Global Research Center for Science of Learning, Global Certification Bureau for Digital Learning Resources, School for Difference Learners, first in Asia Pacific, Design University, especially for designing digital games, Skill Development Center, Sectoral Digital Skilling, Gaming and Digital Learning, Teachers Training Academy, Incubator Ecosystem. And also, iHub is expected to do unskilled teachers for digital instruction, continuous upgradation, how to do in this regard, improving learning outcome for 50 lakh students, strengthen industry and university linkages, have education tech startups, create highly skilled talent pool, and ultimately they want to generate USD $700 million, create 5,000 jobs. You are all aware, India is having so many advantages. We are very strong in English. Even in America, they are having limited population. If you compare and anywhere in the world, highest speaking English people are in India, not any other country. Even England, nowhere in the world. Second is we are very strong in technology. In technology, out of 4, all over the world in information technology, 1 is from Indian. Among Indians, for every 4, 1 is from my state. That is our strength. If you see here, Google CEO is from India. Microsoft CEO is from India. Like that, if you go on naming people, most of the CEOs are from India, especially from our state or neighboring states. That is our strength. And also, if you see, we are having biggest market because of our size of population also. 1.3 billion. That is the size of population. And also democracy. And at the same time, demographic dividend. If you see all countries, you are having an aging problem. But India is having total youth. Our average age, if you see, around 29 years. It is young India. So that we can provide services for the global community by sitting in Visakhapatnam or in Andhra Pradesh. That is the strength India is having. I am very happy apart from this. In technology, we are having fiber grid. Every home we are connecting with 15 Mbps. Every school, college, everywhere we are prepared to provide gigabit capacity. And at the same time, around 25,000 hotspots for Wi-Fi. Every place, wherever we need, we can provide Wi-Fi. And also nook and corner, we are using different technologies how to take bandwidth. As a matter of fact, I'm a strong believer in technology. Technology will bring transparency, accountability, speediness. Today, if you see, we are all in an inspiring time. Why I am using this inspiring time? Generally, if you see history, first industrial revolution, it is only small mechanization. Second industrial revolution, innovation of electricity. Third industrial revolution, information technology. Because of that, world has become a global village. Fourth industrial revolution, within no time, it is around late 80s or early 90s, information technology has started. Now, within 30 years' time or 20, 25 years' time, fourth industrial revolution is going on. In fourth industrial revolution, if you see, technology, information technology, and also IoT is a deadly combination, Internet of Things. We are talking today, machine learning, artificial intelligence, even cloud management, even everything we are talking today. I am very happy my government is taking total lead in this sector. Today, all my government, all departments are online. Very soon, we are going to reach a stage. You do not go to any office. One smartphone is enough to do your business in Andhra Pradesh. Either government services through app-based, private services, everything, you can get it done. Either welfare programs, or development programs or regulatory or government to government or government to private, everything can be transacted. That is the day we are reaching now. For that, we have prepared everything. I think this is the first government. We are having a content corporation also. That is where we are building either entertainment or knowledge or education, agriculture, you name anything, everything we want to bring. There are so many people here. You are having any content, I will be very happy to work with you. Either I want to go for outsourcing, you can sell your content, it is useful for me. Or otherwise, you can have direct access to us. You can we will market your content. If it is good content, through our content corporation, through our fiber grid, I can market your content also. That is the beauty what we are working today. I am very clear in this. If you see our growth rate in the recent past, 10.5%. But I am planning 15% over a period of 15 years' time. It is possible because of technology and also because of education. Nowadays, we need basic education is very important. And at the same time, to reach higher values, how to integrate knowledge with technology, it is very, very important. That is where we are all assembled here. Earlier, we are all, education means it is only a classroom. Even because of that, all students are fed up. There is no creativity. It is only sometimes teachers also going on teaching them. There is so much of stress. Now there is a creative learning, virtual learning. In our state, we are having 5,000 digital classrooms and also 4,000 virtual classrooms. Nowhere in the world, virtual classroom is available. It is available in Andhra Pradesh. You can broadcast any information and you can have an interactive session with real time. So it is going to help in a big way. What I wanted to, this type of education, it is going to solve so many problems. Just now, earlier, so many speakers has mentioned very clear. We wanted to get all best universities in the world to Andhra Pradesh. Best schools in the world to Andhra Pradesh. What are all the best universities available in India? It has to be in Andhra Pradesh. That is how we are working. More or less, we are able to succeed in this. Here, I want to place before you, our government is moving forward in ease of doing business. As on today, we are number 1 in ease of doing business continuously. I wanted to be distant number 1 in ease of doing business by using information technology. And also we are going for ease of living. Anybody wanted to deliver, anybody wanted to have his business, it will be very easy, either development or regulatory or welfare. And at the same time, we are going by using technology, corrupt-free society. That is where we are moving. Recently, some surveys, they have given us Andhra Pradesh, one of the least corrupt states in India. Among them, we are in 3rd place. Next year, we want to be 1st place. And ultimately, we want to eradicate total corruption. I want to establish corrupt-free society. And also we are going in a big way, most livable standards, quality of air, quality of water, quality of food. We are going in a big way ZBNF, zero budget natural farming. No fertilizer, no pesticide. As on today, this year, we are going to have 6 lakh farmers, 6 lakh acres of land in organic farming, that is natural farming. This is the biggest in the world. Around 8% of land is in natural farming. Even recently in France, they have given top 10 innovations in the world. One innovation on agriculture is ZBNF, that is we got it now. I am very happy, we are very proud of it. If I give you quality of water, quality of air, quality of food, quality of health care, your lifespan will increase. Tomorrow, anybody want to live more years, you have to come to Andhra Pradesh and settle here. You will have better life, better living standards. This is where we are working. Happiness with quality of life. Life should be meaningful. One should enjoy life, not fatigue or stress, happily. Even education should be a fun, not a punishment. As on today, just now, Minister from Government of India has said very clearly, he is going to reduce 50% of syllabus. That is not enough. Every classroom should be a enjoyment. People should learn and enjoy. Even that is where I am very happy in this. UNESCO is working in a big way, gaming. Even while playing, kids has to learn. That is real learning. That is where we have to aim. I am very happy for that. For all these things, in every field I am working vision and also innovation continuously. What is innovation? What we are doing today, if we do differently to get better outcomes. And also, we are going in a big way, convergence. Everywhere today, silos. Even education. There are so many departments, they are all working a silo approach. Only one thing is very clear. One student, they are teaching. But so many departments are approaching. Every department is a silo approach. Then there is a problem. That's why we are going for convergence in everywhere. Now, Uberization. What is Uberization? How to use resources at most efficiently. And also for all these things, you have to use technology. Never we have imagined best teacher sitting one place. Virtual classroom, content, you name anything, it will be one of the most beautiful content and also most beautiful way of explaining or doubts clarification, we can do it today. Never we imagined all these things. Earlier, we used to learn only from teachers. Now, every student is a teacher now. You can go to internet. You can learn things. You can teach teachers. That is the order of the day today. If any intelligent student is there, you can teach really all students, teachers also. Ultimately, accountability, we are bringing in a big way. Here, continuous lifelong learning, life skills. Learning and de-learning is a continuous process. What you learn, it is unnecessary. Forget about it. Learn new skills. Nowadays, if you see technologies, I want to have every home, every citizen should be a digital literate. We are all talking today, what is the literacy rate? Tomorrow, day will come, what is the digital literacy? That is very, very important. And also, every home, there must be one entrepreneur. We have to think differently. How to act, how to do, and also everything is a project mode. You have to work it out. So with all these things again, I am very happy here. We are working with UNESCO. It is a model for the global community on education. So many people are here. What are all the contents we are having? Even gaming in education. What is the new contents you can create? Not inventing what we are already invented. So with that direction, we have to move forward. I am very happy, even today, UNESCO. Last year, we had some declaration here, Visakhapatnam Declaration. Even to start gaming university, you asked 50 acres of land. Before going or concluding this meeting, you decide which place you want. We have shown 4 or 5 places. I will get it done next cabinet meeting, allotment of land for you. I am very happy. After that, every year, same month, we are going to have this convention. This is and at the same time, this Tech 18 is over. Next year, I want to know here, what is the progress and performance? So many brains are gathering here. Ultimately, all brains have to lead for future innovations. I am a strong believer. What all we talk, it is theory. What all we write, it is theory. What all we learn, it is theory. And at the same time, by using all these things, if you produce results, that is the reality. I want to move towards reality always. This meeting, you have 2018 Declaration of Visakhapatnam. 2019, we will have a review. Or we are able to move forward, or otherwise we are talking, and also we are only spending time. All these things we have to review. This is where I am very much interested. The organizers and also all participants has to cooperate with us. Ultimately, it is a wonderful time. You are in a wonderful place. Not only learning things, have a nice fun here. Enjoy your stay. I wish all the best. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such inspiring words. Ladies and gentlemen, next I call upon the Deputy Vice Minister of Higher Education, Egypt, Professor Dr. Yasser Refet Abdel Fattah Mohammed, and Cultural Counselor, Embassy of Egypt in India, Mohammed Shukranara. Let's welcome them all with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everyone. On the occasion of the International Conference of Digital Pedagogies for Building 21st Century Skills, with the support and endeavors of UNESCO MGIEB for Education Enhancement, and after a long day of yesterday discussing the quality of digital learning resources in present education systems in participating countries, and on consultations regarding VISEC declaration to launch the call for development of global standards and guidelines for digital learning resources, in addition to the precious opening address by His Excellency Chandrababu Naidu, Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, and His Excellency's talk on research hubs, it gives me a good opportunity to propose the intention of Egypt to welcome to address being the research hub partner for Africa and Middle East of digital education. This proposal comes from the belief of Egypt that education is a cornerstone in building nations that drives the political willingness, investing heavily for improvement of education system. It goes without saying that technology plays an important and direct role in creating a paradigm shift in education pedagogy. Since Egypt possesses all capabilities that makes it a good regional candidate hosting a research center for excellence in digital learning by having the potential research centers, universities, and excellence reputation in scientific research. As Egypt's future depends in large part on skills and resilience of its young generation, therefore, Egypt and its political leadership have obviously placed education on the top of country's priorities. More to the point, the political leadership's keenness to invest in the educational sector, citing President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi announcement that 2019 to be the year of education, which also concomitant to Egypt being chair of the African Union. For all of these reasons, we will be much looking forward to the support of partners in establishing this research hub on the land of Egypt. Thank you for you all.
It's a pleasure to have the honor to honor His Excellency Chandra Babu Naidu, Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, to have the shield of the Ministry of Higher Education. So please accept our honoring to Your Excellency. And His Excellency Ganda Srinivasa Rao, Honorable Minister of HRD, Andhra Pradesh. And His Excellency Dr. Saravana Kumar, Joint Secretary of MHRD, Government of India.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to make some announcements for our upcoming projects. These projects celebrate collaboration between UNESCO MGIP and our partners. May I now call upon stage the My Dream project team, Deputy Managing Director and Corporate Vice President, Samsung India, Mr. Peter Ree, Vice President, Strategy, Investment and Corporate Affairs, Mr. Deepak Bhardwaj, Commissioner, Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti, MHRD, Mr. Biswajit Kumar Singh, Joint Commissioner, Academic, Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti, MHRD, Dr. A.N. Ramachandra, and Special Chief Secretary, Minister of Human Resource and Development, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Adityanath Das. Let's welcome them all with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. May I also request our dignitaries, the Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Chandrababu Naidu, Her Excellency Rosa Otunbayeva, former President of Kyrgyzstan, the Honorable Minister of Human Resource and Development, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Ganta Srinivas Rao, and UNESCO MGIP Director, Professor Ananta Duirappa, to please do the honors. As part of the My Dream project, UNESCO MGIP, Samsung India, and Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya have joined hands to build a curriculum that strongly advocates project-based learning, socio-emotional learning, and use of digital interventions in classrooms. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a huge round of applause. May I now invite Commissioner Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti, MHRD, Mr. Biswajit Kumar Singh, to share a few words about the project.
Good afternoon to all of you. Respected Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Sri Nara Chandrababu Naidu ji, Honorable Minister of HRD AP, Sri Ganta Srinivas Rao ji, Honorable Minister of HRD Sikkim, Sri R.B. Shubha, His High Excellency Roja Otueva, former President of Kyrgyzstan, and Director MGIEP, Dr. Ananda Duraiya. Firstly, I would like to thank Samsung India and MGIP for giving me opportunity to interact with all of you. And on the occasion of Tech 2018, Visakhapatnam, and initiation of JNV My Dream project, in collaboration with Samsung India and MGIP, in introducing project-based learning and social-emotional learning. Now I would like to introduce my Navodaya system to foreign delegates. I think they require some kind of introduction. We are an institution engaged in giving or delivering best modern education to rural talents of the country, wherein we select our students through non-verbal testing in class 6th and try to get talent who have the real intelligence and critical thinking, not rote learning as such. At present, we have 635 operational schools all over the country. In fact, all districts of the country are in general covered except Tamil Nadu. And we provide not only academic excellence, we try to have a holistic education on the line of best sports facilities, best cultural facilities, and best curricular activities also. Our results are one of the best in India. Many students are going to different IITs and different competitions. That is our basic brand value. In fact, when we have started discussion for this, I think 3-4 months back, on this My Dream project, on project-based learning and social-emotional learning, I was quite excited that whether we will able to go through or not. Now I am very thankful to MGIEP. We have come to the stage of initiating it. This is one of the projects where we are the most suited to the extent that we have more than 3 lakh students residing in different schools, studying in an environment that you can say asrama type, that used to be in earlier times. Teacher and students used to live in the same campus and used to experiment with different teaching pedagogy and come to some conclusion. With the addition of this digital learning and this project-based learning and social-emotional learning, I think we can have better educational environments in our schools, more joyful and more satisfying. I hope we will have a good research design and we will progress very well. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Samsung India, as part of its CSR efforts and capacity building for digital instruction, is collaborating with the government of Andhra Pradesh for setting up 14 smart classes in Bachelor of Education and Diploma in Education awarding colleges in Andhra Pradesh. May I now request Deputy Managing Director and Corporate Vice President, Samsung India, Mr. Peter Ree, to share a few words about the initiative.
Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Chandrababu Naidu Garu, Education Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Ganta Srinivasa Rao Garu, Her Excellency Rosa Otunbayeva, former President of Kyrgyzstan, dignitaries on the dais, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to share the MOU with Andhra Pradesh government to enable a unique initiative conceptualized and championed by Chandrababu Nabu Garu, Teachers Teaching Through Technology. UNESCO MGIP has developed 200 hours of digital pedagogy, course curriculum to be integrated into B.Ed and D.Ed courses throughout India. Samsung Smart Class, having been deployed extensively at Jawahar Navodaya Vidya over the last 5 years, with a total of 652 schools, have now been chosen to be deployed in this pilot program for B.Ed and D.Ed courses. On behalf of Samsung, I wish to thank Chandrababu Naidu Garu, Government of Andhra Pradesh, and UNESCO MGIP to enable such a creative and transformative first step in developing the skills for the 21st century. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next, I call upon stage CMD Kolte Patil Group, Shri Rajesh Patil, Senior Vice President, Global Development and Partnerships, Rubika Group, Dr. Manoj Singh, and Special Chief Secretary, MHRD Government of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Adityanath Das. Rubika is a higher school of digital creation, specializing in the fields of video games, 3D animation, and industrial design. And to make further announcements, I now call upon CMD Kolte Patil Group, Shri Rajesh Patil.
Honorable Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu and all other dignitaries, we are extremely happy to announce that the setting up of proposed Anisha Rubika United World University, given the government support, we'll try our best to make it truly world-class. Thank you.
Honorable Chief Minister, dignitaries on the dais, under the iHub program of UNESCO MGIP initiative, which is going to be set up in the city of Vizag, we are going to have a design university with the help of Anisha Rubika collaboration, and this is going to take shape very shortly. We are thankful to the group for coming to the city of Vizag and setting up a world-class design university. Thank you.
Honorable Chief Minister and all other dignitaries, on behalf of the Chairman, the Managing Director, the Chamber of Commerce and Industry Grand Hainaut France, and every member from Rubika family, I would like to announce that we are extremely happy and delighted to be part of this journey. Thank you, sir, for sharing the opportunity. Thank you, Ananta, UNESCO MGIP. Rubika has been into design education since 1987. We operate from France, Canada, and we definitely look forward to come to the city of destination and build our future for destination. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. May I now please invite Education Head Unity Tech, Ms. Jessica Lindell, CEO. Just a second, ladies and gentlemen. I invite again CMD Kolte Patil Group, Shri Rajesh Patil, Senior Vice President, Global Development and Partnerships, Rubika Group, Dr. Manoj Singh, and Special Chief Secretary, MHRD Government of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Aditya Nath Das, on stage, please. Thank you, gentlemen. May I now please invite Education Head Unity Tech, Ms. Jessica Lindell, CEO APIS, Mr. Vinny Patro, Head Unity Education and Center of Excellence Initiatives APAC, Mr. Ramesh Hanumakonda. I will now give the mic to Mr. Ramesh Hanumakonda for the rest of the announcements.
Very good morning, and just in a short summary, we went into ground field in action, and in the last 3 weeks, we have mobilized students in Andhra Pradesh, around 1,900 registration for a gaming hackathon, did 5 workshops in 5 cities, and relentlessly when we went and mobilized, and we got 300 participation with no knowledge of developing games, and we were pleasantly surprised with 18 semi-finalists making a game, and that is connected to sustainable development goals. And that led to 11 finalists and 3 winners. I take the opportunity to get the winners from the Gayatri College, Team Deboli, which won 100,000 rupees and much more for their game, which is a video. Can I get Team Deboli's video? Which is playing an innovation officer. And can I kindly request Honorable Chief Minister to felicitate the younger hearts who made a game which is absolutely connecting how you can put games to learning in a sustainable manner. Thank you very much. With this, I would like to invite the second team, which made a fantastic virtual reality game, which connects digital farmers, where the farmer, can I get the digital farmers video, please? Which is a short game done by the Centurion University kids. Absolutely, I would not call them kids. They are now turning professionals in terms of making the video game for making the SGD-10, connecting how farmers doing traditional farming, having traditional methodologies of earning, were getting abused by the vendors. They take them in a fun way of how the farmer can learn new age practices and then do much more justice to the whole system. With this, I invite the third team, which is again from Visakhapatnam, from Gayatri College, Santosh and team, where they made a fantastic game. And can I get the third video, please, in the interest of time? It's a game which connects people to say that it's a high-octane game, which is a runner game. And all these games are available at the stall so that we can get more participation and encourage the young minds. And they made a credible effort, worked the last 24 hours not sleeping. They really made this hackathon possible. Thank you very much for a great opportunity.
Thank you, Ramesh. Thank you, dignitaries. For our next announcement, may I now request Head Program South Asia Adobe, Ms. Garima Babbar, Commissioner School Education, Ms. Sandhya Rani, and Special Chief Secretary, Ministry of Human Resource and Development, Shri Aditya Nath Das, to join us on stage. In a world of disruptive thinking, it may get hard to stay relevant sometimes. And it is at these times that the skill of creativity, design thinking, and problem solving become all the more relevant. Aligned with this philosophy, Adobe is setting up skilling program on creative digital technologies in Andhra Pradesh. Let's give them a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. May I now invite Head Program South Asia Adobe, Ms. Garima Babbar, to shed some light on the project.
Honorable Chief Minister, Sri Chandrababu Naidu Garu, distinguished guests on the dais, delegates at this tech conference, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really delighted that we are able to sign this MOU with Adobe Digital Disha, whereby school students in Andhra Pradesh and teachers will get access to use Adobe Spark licenses for developing projects, for creating digital content, and for actually enhancing digital literacy. Andhra Pradesh is already on the forefront of introducing a lot of digital initiatives in schools. Just now, our Honorable Chief Minister and our Minister HRD have shared with you about the digital classrooms and virtual classrooms. We also have APE Knowledge Exchange Portal for all the almost 300,000 teachers in this state, where they can share digital content, have online discussions, and also their lesson plans. And we're in the process of setting up ICT labs in the next 1-2 years. So I think this initiative with the Adobe Digital Disha will be extremely useful, and it will add value to the already digital education underway in Andhra Pradesh. I'm really looking forward to this partnership, and we will take it effectively forward. It will start from class 6 to class 12. At the pilot stage, it will involve 500 schools and around 200,000 students and around 7,000 teachers, and we will expand to other schools in phase 1 and phase 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Sandhya Rani. I now invite Head Program South Asia Adobe, Ms. Garima Babbar, to shed some light on the project.
Honorable Chief Minister, Sir, Mr. Naidu, respected dignitaries, thank you so much for this wonderful partnership between Adobe and Government of Andhra Pradesh Department of School Education. It is an honor and privilege for us to sign this MOU today. Adobe is synonymous of digital and creativity, which are two essential pillars of education transformation, be it skill development and transformation in pedagogies in 21st century. Disha means direction, and early this year, we launched this program and announced this partnership, and it's an honor today that we are going to cover 500 schools of Government of Andhra Pradesh. Our aim is to impact education and skill development for youth in the country by providing them digital creativity skills. We are in the age of transformation where technology is changing in the digital era. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, Internet of Things, it's evolving day by day. Therefore, being a leader in the digital space, it's our responsibility to ensure that we are able to bring forth the youth for global learning. Thank you so much, and we'll do our best in this partnership.
Thank you, everyone. UNESCO MGIP, in collaboration with the National Brain Research Center, Delhi, is pleased to launch the first screening app for dyslexia for teachers. This app will be available in 5 regional languages, including Telugu, Marathi, Kannada, Hindi, and English. I will now request MGIP's own cognitive neuroscientist and the brain behind the app, Dr. Nandini Chatterjee, to join us on the stage.
Honorable Chief Minister, on behalf of MGIP, I'm delighted to announce this app which we talked about last year at Tech 2017. As a cognitive neuroscientist, my research showed that children in India who grow up in biliterate learning environments, they learn to read 2 writing systems at the same time, should be assessed in the languages that they learn in. And we did not have an app in Indian languages. So we took the research further to develop an app which could be available for children in Indian languages, particularly for teachers. And sir, as you very rightly pointed out, for us, English is another language which is part of the Indian Constitution. And therefore, this app also has English. And I'm delighted to share with you the fact that this will be the first online screening app for teachers that is going to be available free for teachers to download and use to be able to pick up children with dyslexia. So why are we so worried about dyslexia? What many of you might not know is 1 in 10 brains is wired differently, which means you can quickly, if you do a search of numbers, if there are 500 people in this room, 50 of us are certainly wired differently and may not pick up reading skills as easily as others do in the classroom. We now know that dyslexia is also one of the biggest reasons for school dropout. So though we might have large enrollments, how do we ensure that our children stay in school and acquire basic skills of literacy? Last year when Anantha and I visited Andhra Pradesh to set up this collaboration, we recognized a champion very early on in the Chief Minister who very quickly agreed to set up the first school for difference learners in the Asia-Pacific region. It was talked about earlier too. And that's when we made a commitment that we would develop very soon an app for Telugu, which would be available. And so, sir, I'm delighted to share this app with you. I do not have anything physical to share with you, but we have something on the App Store, and I will look forward to come and shaking your hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nandini. Thank you, dignitaries. Next, I call upon UNESCO MGIP Director, Professor Anantha Dweerappa, to enlighten us with his tech talk. The topic for his talk is Predators and Nurturers. Anantha has spent over 33 years as a science policy trendsetter. He took the position as the inaugural director of UNESCO MGIP in 2014 and has played a pivotal role in positioning the institute as one of the leading research institutes for education. He firmly believes in the power of science and brings in the latest researches from the discipline for building peaceful and sustainable societies. He is a fellow of TWAS and a fellow of World Academy of Arts and Sciences. Ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, please welcome UNESCO MJIP Director Ananta Duirappa.
All right, can everybody can hear me. I always would have liked to have met Nandini much earlier in my life because she diagnosed me with dyslexia about a year and a half ago. And I could have explained to my parents why I was. And I would have not had all that scolding for doing poorly in maths and all the other stuff. But the good thing is I found the right options. I was provided certain tools that I was able to get to where I am right now. And then she did another thing which I wasn't too happy about. She told my wife that this is hereditary. And that explains why my son was diagnosed with acute dyslexia very early on. Mine is only about 10, 15%, but he's in the extreme case. And so immediately the wife said, figures why he's had that. It's the father as usual. But today, I want to focus the talk on a stakeholder that we have pretty much ignored in our discussions. We take the stakeholder for granted. We take this stakeholder to somebody who we think is the best for them. And that stakeholder I'm talking about is the student. And it across the whole range of age, but I want to focus on the child. And we are all parents. Today's talk was inspired by my own experience in school, but really going into this field, and I excuse myself, I apologize that I was trained as an economist, but I moved into education after seeing what my children have gone through, which seems to be very similar to what I've gone through. It has not changed. So we need to really look and keep them at the heart of our discussions over the next 3 days. Let's not forget the child. And so, that's a scary photo. Let me get that one out. That's what I do for my hobby. This is not working. So, as they get the technology done, it always happens in a technology conference. The technology doesn't work. But some recent statistics that came out from WHO are very disturbing. The trend, and the Honorable Minister Javadekar Prakash had already alluded, the CM also has suggested of a happiness society. That's his goal. For India, and I was really shocked that 25% of children between the ages of 13 and 15 have some form of depression. And these are the only reported ones. And we know many of us have this as a stigma, so we don't report that. So the real numbers could be much higher. And, of course, everybody knows suicides are something that we really have to contend on. That's been increasing as well. The second disturbing trend is this whole notion of this rising sense of intolerance. We are not willing to listen to the other. And you can see this happening around the world. The whole option of to agree to disagree is not there. And I don't like tolerance. I don't think we should go for tolerance. Tolerance is I'm just tolerating you, and that's been bound by maybe the institutions that are bound us. It is about understanding and respect, and that's where we really need to focus on. Then the third, it's working. We have some really global wicked problems, climate change, migration. These are problems that we are going to be passing on to the future generations to handle, especially climate change. We caused it, now we're going to give them the problem, and they need the kind of tools to handle that. We haven't handled it very well. And then the fourth one, which is really problematic, is how education is becoming a private good. It should be a social good. As an economist, I couldn't put public good because education does not fit within the definitions of what a public good is. So I use social. But it has to be a social good. It is something that we have to offer to every. And SDG 4 talks about it, inclusive, equitable, quality education for all. So it's there. How do we do it? Now I want to talk a little bit about, this is just sort of kind of, I had peanuts in my hands. I was thinking I could have peanuts while I talk, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. But these are some of the things that came out from a 2015 Youth Speak survey that we did, global. And this is to support that second, the rising level of intolerance, understanding. Some of them are quite scary. Fixed gender roles for men bring stability to society. In times of insecurity, you need to use force. This is the trend that we are seeing today. So the two main lessons, what we did was we did education for peace and sustainable. That's our mandate. What we find is that what we have right now is not working. It has had very little impact. Because most of those respondents actually said they have had some exposure to education for sustainable development, education for peace, education for human rights, and yet all the responses went orthogonal to what they should have been taught. Now, the good news is that they are empathetic by nature. The neuroscientists here will already have something sparkling in their heads because they know where I'm going towards with this. But we are empathetic by nature, so there is hope. The bad news, so I'm going to go bad news, good news, bad news, good news. The bad news is our education system. This regimented and instrumentalist by nature was a result of a one-year review that the MGIP took of 22 countries in the Asia-Pacific region. And the final result that became is that most of the policies, curriculums, and teacher training, all three, basically reduce it to a regimented and instrumentalist by nature. So don't question rote memorization. How many of the children are here? They will all sort of say, hey, that makes sense. Material wealth and prosperity as a key goal. Education is static. It doesn't really move. It has to be dynamic. It has to have feedbacks. It doesn't. One size fits all. Competitive pitching against each other. I remember when I used to bring my report card, the first thing, so I'm very happy, I said, hey, I got 80% in my maths. I'm just pulling a fast one. It was much lower, but I don't want to tell you what that was. So I had 80% in my maths. And the first thing my mother asked me is, so who was the highest? So it's about pitching against each other. So it's like you got to get, instead of saying, hey, I had 40% in the previous exam, I got now 80%, I've improved. But that was not the objective. So it kind of creates that inner person in there to compete against the other. And I'm going to shock you with a statement later on. And then the standard assessments, exams. The fact that you have an exam has already defeated you because you're so anxious before the exam that you don't have this peace of mind to go in there and do what you need to do. This exam mentality is causing us so much of stress. It's actually one of the primary factors for that depression and anxiety. And teachers know it all. I think the Chief Minister alluded to that one earlier in his speech. The kids, while the teacher is saying something, the kids are already Googling it and sort of saying, hey, that's wrong. Right? And then they sort of say, you just said something which is wrong, and if you get a so-called traditional teacher, you have to duck the chalkboard that comes at you. But I think these days that's illegal. But during my days, yes, it was. So I want you to sort of look at this very carefully, because the objective is human capital and human flourishing as an externality. And so when you see a lot of this focus on emotional intelligence today, which has been pushed by a lot of companies, corporations, World Economic Forum, the focus is still on human capital. But hopefully by this socio-emotional learning, you increase productivity of that person. And it still doesn't address the issue of depression that we talked about, that I alluded earlier. So the reality is that externality is negative. It actually creates predatorial qualities. So this statement that I've made a couple of times, and I still stand by it, that our education system is one of the best predatorial training camps that we have. It creates this to do better than the other one. It's always a competitive spirit. So we need a new approach, one based on science and evidence. And we had yesterday a discussion at the high-level policy forum, and I was happy to see that many of the members there, delegations from countries as well as experts, agreed to sort of say that many of the present dominant education systems are not supported by the best findings from the neurosciences. The good news is there's hope, but we need to train the brain. It doesn't come naturally. We got to, as I said, we are empathetic by nature, but you got to train those neurons. They're sitting there. Don't use it, you lose it. So you got to train. At MGIP, we call it firing the Gandhi neurons. We wish we had coined the word, but it was actually termed by the neuroscientist at UC San Diego, if I'm not mistaken, V.C. Ramachandran, the neuroscientist, the phantom limbs neuroscientist. He called it Gandhi neurons. We think we should call it firing Gandhi neurons, because you need to create the circuits, and it's just not a single neuron. So that's what we're creating, those neural circuits between the thinking brain and the emotional brain. So we have the science. This is not so much a speculation. We have the science. We still need to do more work, but then scientists always want to do more work. I think we have enough to start that process. So the facts, the brain is key to learning. Well, that's no-brainer. I wanted a laugh there. I thought it was the brain is a social brain because it has a rational, but it also has an emotional. We have kind of pushed that emotional part away. We're just so focused on building that rational part. And then the whole rationality has been dumped because I'm not sure how many of you read that book, Predictably Irrational, by Dan Ariely. We are not rational. And the reason we are not rational is because of that emotional. It plays a huge role in our decision-making and the way we behave. And then third thing is neuroplasticity is key. It's that whole connections. And the good news is old people like me still have neuroplasticity. So there is hope. The young ones are much more elastic. The older ones are less, but it's not gone. So we can train. And the word you're keeping here is training that brain, linking that emotional to the rational. So this is, as a scientist, I had to keep this hypothesis and the propositions So the hypothesis is emotionally, this is what we want. An emotionally resilient person is a person who is high well-being, and the externality is a productive individual. So I flipped it. I'm no longer focusing on the human as a productive. I'm looking at the human as a flourishing person with productivity as an externality. And the science says that works. A lot of studies in California and other parts of the world where they have included mindfulness, empathy training, they see academic success improve significantly. But the focus is not on that academic success, it's about the person. You address the stress values. You address the depression directly. So the proposition one is a whole brain approach necessary to produce an emotionally and intellectual resilient. Education systems need to adapt, and the early findings is we are there. We need to scale it up, and that's what we are here in this conference. So it's from predators to nurturers. That's the title which I did not want to put at the front, but I put it in bit. So the time is right. The internet has broken the information barrier. Everybody has sort of said, there's no need for textbooks. Just go to Google. But what we need to teach the kids is how you search for that news, because there's so much of fake news. There's so much of news so you need to know how to search that. That's a different skill. We don't teach that. The internet allows coordination connection across learners. We did this really well where we linked 5 schools across the world, had a discussion on migration among people from so different cultures, one from the US, Midwest in the US, one from Malaysia, one from India, and you should see the kind of discussion that was going on and how they change their perspectives. Internet allows freedom of choice. Agency is important. Here the whole notion is agency to the child, the choice. That's something that the internet allows. And then the propensity to harvest, this is the AI. This is something that we haven't, it's untapped, but the potential is huge. So here's what I want you to imagine. A child who learns by playing games, advances at his or her own pace. I wish I had a game, I go in, I play the game, yes, I advance, you pass your exam. Wouldn't that be great? Instead of then going for a 1 hour or a 3-hour exam, all focus on the exams, you play the game on a daily basis, and as you advance, means you have learned. If you don't, you go back. You continue working at that. So, and failure is purely seen as learning. The best way to learn is to fail. Multisensory, there's enough science to show that kids learn through different senses. Some are visual, some are more audio, some are text. So a combination, digital allows that. I don't read any more text books, printed books. I've gone completely digital because I can make notes, I can pull them out, I can compile them, synthesize them, and then now the latest ones, I can even play a game within the book. We got to communicate. We got to communicate across cultures. We can't always bring kids from the US to India to talk to somebody from Sri Lanka, Malaysia. We need to communicate. And the only way to communicate and dialogue at a cost-efficient way is through the net, through digital means. Can you imagine a child who co-creates curriculum with the teachers? By the time they finish the curriculum, you're finished. You're studied. I'm not sure what the teachers would say about that. And this is where we're really going in the next few years, where a child has a personal bot, which helps the child, drawing from the millions of experiences. So I'm talking about AI here. I'm talking about a platform which is able to harness all that data. So it's a vision, but I think it's possible, and I think we should start building it. So what do we do about it? So what we had done in MGIP is develop an initial platform We don't intend to keep it. It's completely open. We want the developers to be part of the community. We want content developers to be part of the community. And we want the children to be part of the community. Because some of the best feedback we have had when we have been building on this is from the children. When we go to the schools and we present it, the amount of feedback that we got to improve it was so significant. And good suggestions. So with that, I'm going to ask my colleagues to welcome to the world of Kai.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is often said that necessity is the mother of all the inventions. But we didn't need to fly. We didn't need to go to the moon. Some of the greatest inventions of our times have come from a different set of inspiration, our imagination. And today, we are imagining the way you teach in your classrooms, the way you teach on a digital platform, and the way you and we, all of us, learn digitally. Today, we are reimagining the education system, which is digital, through our platform called Collective Human Intelligence, Kai. We knew that the traditional system had its own problems, but we also knew that it had its own benefits. We took the best part of it, merged with how we play games, both offline and online, and took the features from them to create a playground for learners and creators. So quickly, I want to show you a demo as well, and then we run through these slides as well. So traditionally, you have these courses that you are teaching in your classrooms, but you also are doing it digitally. So we have these courses on Kai, which kind of break down into these modules, and then these break down into these lessons. So far, so good. Everyone is doing this. You have these courses broken down into modules, broken down into lessons. But that's where the magic happens. So if you see on the left side of the screen, we have what we call these powerful things called blocks. Blocks is what give you these benefits as a creator to plug and play whatever you want in different multimodal scenario, as well as get a response in a multi-sensory way. So how do we do that? So we have these rich text and images, but you as a creator can use these cartoon strips also on the platform. And you can also have these videos embedded, 3D videos, 2D videos embedded. Here I want to kind of draw an attention that we have taken the power of good old link and broken it down. So if you have a YouTube link, we take the YouTube video directly and embed it here. If you have an infograph that you want to kind of embed, then we take those infograms and then it embeds right here, right there. We support more than 5,000 internet links and they get embedded right here. So you don't need to do anything, just paste a link and get the power of it. But there are the ways that you take responses from students as well. Right now, we are using in traditional setups like multiple choice questions. Match the following and fill in the blanks. But the way you collect responses is also going to change. Now, you'll not only be able to collect these responses through text and MCQs, which are boring, but also through what we call a journaling block. So now a student can write an answer to your question or share their thoughts, but he or she can also upload a file, video record his scenario or her scenario, audio record that, or draw something on a canvas. So the way a student or the learner is submitting the response or giving the response has changed inherently now. It is more multimodal as a way you present your information, but the way you collect these responses becomes much more multisensory. But that's not where we stopped. We also understood that collaboration is one of the most important key in education system, in the classroom structure. And that's why if we are bringing something to the digital world, we need to focus on the collaboration at most. That's why we have these discussions. Discussions are not only good for sharing data, but also sharing stories and your experiences. But discussions does not stay right here. Discussions get embedded within your lessons now. So while a child is having these multimodal, multisensory experiences, he is collaborating in an intercultural way to everyone around the world. So now your lesson, the book, the textbook that you had becomes so much powerful on a digital medium. It has these multimodal ways to kind of collect responses and multisensory ways to kind of share your experiences, but also a way where everyone is interacting with everyone around the world. But if you focus at any of these blocks, we have not put a time restriction here. Time restriction on something brings anxiety amongst students. It's a self-paced learning, the way you want to, the way you as a learner choose to. That's why you can go in any of these courses, in any of these lessons, the way you want to and whenever you want to complete it. There are no time restrictions on Kai. But as Ananta said, that one size does not fit it all. And that's where the innovation part comes in. What we have built is what we call a connector, and connector uses this good old thing called IFTTT, which says, if this, then that. And what it does, so let's say this is a MCQ that a learner is solving. As a creator, you can choose to connect this MCQ and say that one of these options by the learners is this one, then do that. And you can create these n number of tree kind of structure and branch them. You can give them different feedbacks. You can give them different badges, like a gamifying your classroom. You can update their progress based on that. So if IFTTT works on these rules.
You all can hear me well, right? But that's not all what we do. At Kai, for the first time, the creator get a chance to take cognizance of learners' emotions and sentiments. First time emotion and sentiment analysis is not being used for brand awareness or pitching an ad to you, but in the context of education, what we are doing is allowing the creators to do is pre-configure learning paths, non-linear learning paths for different learners, depending on the emotions that get invoked when they interact with your subject. So and why do you think that's important? I'll just share a story of two learners in 5 seconds. One is named Prashanti. She loves traveling. The thought of moving to a new place invokes a lot of excitement in her. And then there's someone named Sakshi, again a learner, who just overheard her dad yesterday in dinner saying that I lost my job to a migrant worker. As a creator, you're trying to teach how to increase empathy in your learners. Do you think that the same learning path would actually work for both of them? We at MGIP feel that that's not personalized enough. Emotions and feeling have to come into play. And that's where these insights, when you look at this particular word cloud, when you look at it, the journals which Devesh showed, you can get the most referenced journaling terms and phrases which a learner has soon, and the size of the font becomes bigger and bigger, more referenced they are. But then the magic happens is when you actually get a chance to hover over or go over one of the phrases. What you get to see is, you get to see the sentiment attached to that phrase and how that gets referenced on the word cloud, if you could just, yeah. So in any of that, it tells you how all your learners feel about that particular phrase which is being picked up algorithmically on your word cloud. Now this not just doesn't end over here. For all your learners which are geographically dispersed, you can see about immigration, how do learners from India differ from learners from US? So that sentiment then gives you that insight which you can then, in your next course creation, in your next intervention, take note of these feelings and emotions. Finally, the best part about pre-configuring the emotions by the creators is, one of the biggest concerns is related to data privacy and our own identity being taken for selling us ads and for other personal goods. Here, you don't need, even the anonymized data, because of pre-configuration and branching which happens, it can allow the learners to feel that personalized learning. At the same time, you get meaningful insights out of learners, how they are interacting with you. So on a final thought, I know we are running short on time, I just leave you. We are educators, we are creators, we are policymakers, we are leaders. We need to, when we created Kai, we wanted to create a mirror for ourselves. We do a spell check. We do a grammar check. What about an emotion check? What about a sentiment check? Or at the very least, a bias check. Because as educators, if we are bringing and throwing something out there for others to consume, are we inadvertently pushing our own agendas? Is that something which we truly want to do? So people who are us educators who do want to make a difference for our future generations, come on Kai, get a look at yourself and see whether your courses and learnings are going to stand the test of time. Thank you. With that, I'm going to welcome you to the world of Kai. Thank you.
On this note, ladies and gentlemen, we come to an end to the inaugural ceremony, opening ceremony of Tech 2018. May I please request the Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Chandrababu Naidu, and UNESCO MGIP Director Ananta Duirappa to kindly proceed for the press conference. I also take this moment to extend our warm regards to the Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Chandrababu Naidu, Her Excellency Rosa Otunbayeva, former President of Kyrgyzstan, and the Honorable Minister of Human Resource and Development, Government of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Ganta Srinivas Rao, for supporting us in this journey. I now invite Honorable Minister for Education, Human Resource Development, Religious Affairs, Grenada, Ms. Emmeline Pierre, the Deputy Vice Minister of Higher Education, Egypt, Professor Dr. Yasser Rafet Abdel Fatteh Mohammed, to join us on the stage for a photo opportunity. We also extend a heartfelt gratitude to the many distinguished experts, resource persons, and observers who have joined us from different parts of the world today. Also, very thanks to our sponsors, Samsung India, Microsoft, Adobe, technology partner HP, VR partners Viativ and Eon Reality, incubation partner Govan Academy, and 3DS for providing scholarships to 7 Indian educators for Tech 2018. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may now proceed for the tea and the networking break. Teas are served right outside the corridor towards the main entrance. And after the break, we'll join for the catalytic sessions. Catalytic section 1, can social and emotional learning be taught by digital games played on machines in the same conventional hall, V3? And catalytic session 2, reimagining education for the future, taking the planetary imperatives of sustainability and digital revolution seriously.